It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
All right, welcome in. Rothman and Ice. Be nice if I turn the microphone on. That's integral to the process. Welcome back in. Anthony Rothman, Dave Biddle to my right. It's been a busy last 12, 15 hours, no doubt. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Anthony.
I was actually checking the text to see when I originally got the very first one about, hearing about an injury at Ohio State. I'll get to that little timestamp in a moment. We do have a fun show as far as the rest of it goes. Adam Schefter will join us at 12:33, as he always does on a Wednesday. Don Fischer, the legendary voice of the Hoosiers, will jump on at 1:33. We'll find out how real the Crimson and Cream are in B-Town. And Bobby Carpenter, who always joins us on a Wednesday, will push him to 2:33 because we're going to move Hockey and Hounds with Zach Wierenski to tomorrow because it'll be a game day tomorrow and we'll have a lot to talk about. So there's your menu. When did you hear the first little bit that Ohio State has a significant injury in football last night?
It fell out. I have to look at my phone to be sure. I did the story about the college football playoff rankings, which was there was no drama there from Ohio State. I want to say it was about an hour after that, like a little before 9. Does that sound about right? 8:50-ish. It was right before the top of the. It was either I think it was 8:50. I don't think it was 7:50. Let me look.
All right, so
then everybody I know starts texting me. Is it true? Is it true? And I'm just like, I can't respond to all these texts right now.
8:23 was the first one I got.
Oh well, maybe you were tipped off before I. Let me see here. Anyway, it was either right before 8 or right before 9, and then doing what I do, you have to go into try and verify it mode. And
double source.
And Ohio State, wasn't saying anything last night. I don't think they've said anything yet. We'll get Ryan Day later after practice today and some players. He'll obviously address it then. But then, we heard from so many sources that this is legit, and it's just too bad. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, offensive line was the one area where they really couldn't afford to lose, where they didn't have the depth. They have really good depth pretty much across the board, except offensive line. You lose Josh Simmons, and you're thinking, oh, geez, what are they going to do? Withstood that pretty well, but now you lose the center. And it's going to be interesting what they do, Anthony. I think there's two scenarios. Do you move Carson Hinsman back to center and bring in Austin Seyerveld at left guard? Or, I hear there's a lot of smoke about this, leave Carson Hinsman at left guard and bring in redshirt freshman Josh Padilla at center. He's played the last couple weeks in mop-up duty. They're high on him. He was a really good high school wrestler, and I love linemen that are former wrestlers, whether it's offensive linemen or defensive linemen. So a lot of people are assuming, and I did as well initially, they'll just move Hinsman back to center. There's a chance, we'll find out, that it could be Padilla at center and Hinsman staying at left guard.
Yeah, a lot to get to there. And I think if you're leaning towards anything, I'd probably lean that Ryan Day would go towards experience, but they know their players a lot better than I do. So maybe experience at the end of the day isn't the almighty. Maybe he does go to a young kid who's logged some snaps, didn't play last year, but logged a significant amount, I think, even in the Northwestern game. But I do come back to Seth McLaughlin because I feel like this story is such a shame in so many ways. A, you never want to see somebody get injured. B, I always thought that when he first got here, he was treated as kind of, wait a minute, Bama thinks this guy can't play for him? Like that he was kind of a cast-off. And he had that, what play was that CB where he had was it a bad snap or he had something that was atrocious?
There was a lot of bad snaps when they played Michigan in the playoff. And there was talk at the time that there could have been cadence issues with Milroe. And then they were having issues with that this year. So that lends credence to that. And then we haven't seen that with Seth. But you're right. It wasn't like, for example, when Caleb Downs transferred here, people weren't throwing parades. When McLaughlin transferred in. Now, talking to people at Ohio State, they weren't going to say this publicly. They knew right away he was going to be the starting center. They weren't going to say that. They were going to make them a battle in spring between him and Carson Hinsman. But you're right. It wasn't a ballyhooed transfer by any means.
Because of what I said, that he was leaving them to come here. It wasn't a guy that was coming from a MAC school to Ohio State or somebody that maybe from out west that we hadn't seen. Like, this is a guy that we actually saw film on that didn't look great. And you're like, wait a minute, what do you know that they don't know? And that's why I think this story is so sad, because he's turned himself into a All-American this year. Like, that's the horrible part, is that the guy in his first season with the Ohio State program, after transferring in and enrolling in January and going through spring drills, he has completely blown through whatever expectation I had for him. Now, probably not them. They wanted him, they got him, and they knew what he could be, especially what he could mean to this team. So you're right. The impact of losing him, of what he's become, regardless of whether we think they have a quality backup or they can move some pieces around the board again, to me, I just keep coming back to his story and the fact that he has started every game at center this season, and the experience. And by the way, working with a brand new quarterback and an experienced quarterback, and the battery that they formed together. So now they have to shuffle things around. So you first want to say on just how sad of a story it is for him, because it was kind of a little bit of a redemption for him.
Yeah, he very well could have won the Remington Award as the nation's best center, and he was a legit, they were saying, probably a day 2 draft pick, maybe early day 3, where maybe coming into the year he was considered an undrafted free agent. So it's bad for Ohio State. It's bad for Seth. And for those who don't know, he's a great young man off the field as well. Like, he does a lot of charitable work. He does a lot with food banks and things like that, just mature beyond his years. And it says a lot to me when a guy comes to Ohio State and immediately becomes a leader when he transfers in. Same with Will Howard. But focusing on Seth, I mean, he's not technically a captain, but definitely considered one of the best leaders on the team. So you lose your quarterback of the offensive line, a guy that was playing as well as anybody in the country at his position, and you lose a heck of a leader. And it's a really bad time. It's not like it happened. Not that it would have been good if it happened in the game, but at least you would have had a full Tuesday practice to get ready. It happened. So, but now you're down to really one full practice, because Thursday's not a really hardcore practice, and then Friday's a walkthrough. So really today's your only real practice. Maybe they'll go a little harder on Thursday because of this. And now you're playing number 5 Indiana, and you're breaking in a new center, or you're breaking in a new left guard. The good thing is Seiderveld has started a couple games this year, so that's good. Padilla, if he starts, this will be his first start at the collegiate level against top 5 Indiana. Welcome to college football, young man.
Listen, these guys have been through it. They had to go to Happy Valley and try to make it work, and they won a tough game. By the way, this has not affected the betting. Now, you could say what you want. I know offensive linemen don't necessarily move the betting needle, but for Ohio State, we know what kind of impact this is. Everywhere I've seen, Ohio State is still the favorite. Then it's Oregon, then it's Texas, then it's Georgia. So it's not like they swapped Oregon for Ohio State, at least on the betting sites I've seen. So it's not like a ton of money came in on somebody else and said, oh, well, now that Ohio State's lost their starting center, suddenly they can't win at all. I think that it certainly has an impact. I think Buckeye fans are probably in the wait-and-see mode now. Maybe they have lowered their expectation. I haven't quite done that yet, because you got to let this thing play out a little bit. We were worried at Happy Valley, and they looked really good. So we've seen this. We've gone through this before with Ohio State. Obviously, at the quarterback position, it was that's just a folklorish story now with what they went through at quarterback to go win a national title and go 3 deep and find Cardale and have that all work out. This is just different because it's harder to judge this based on, we put a lot of stock in the offensive line, and it may be something we should put everything in, put all our chips in. If you don't have the right offensive line, you can't win, no matter who your weapons are or how good your defense is. But I'm not in that camp right now. I'm not. I feel like this is, I'm not going to downplay it or sugarcoat it. It's a big, big hit. He called out all the protections. He worked with Will Howard. He's a smart kid, and he's got a lot of experience. And he was a guy that was going to be the key to all of, kind of the glue guy holding this offensive line together, and now you've lost that guy. So I'm not going to downplay it, but I'm also going to watch this thing play out a little bit and see what Ohio State can do. Blocking and all that, I know it's fundamental to winning football games. They may have to find another way. This defense may have to find another level and how good they've been.
You took the words right out of my mouth. The defense now, and they're playing well. They have the potential to be the best defense in the country, in my opinion. You're seeing Caleb Downs now become the player that maybe we're expecting from day one. I don't think he was doing anything wrong. I just don't think he was unleashed enough. He's one of the best open field tacklers I've ever seen. Lathan Ransom back there. Denzel Burke's got to play better, but Jordan Hancock's having a heck of a year. This defense, and Sonny Styles is now rounding into form. This defense needs to step it up, and they don't have to carry them to the national championship. This offense is still going to be fine. I'm 100% with you. Like this, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is definitely a big loss for Ohio State. But I'm also not throwing in the towel by any means. By any means. I think Buckeye fans now, you look at social media. Last night, there were a lot of people like, season's over. We're snake bit. Season's over. People were freaking out. I've noticed, this morning, and this afternoon now, people are starting to settle down and maybe come somewhere in the middle. Like, okay, all right, let's see how this plays out. Kind of what you were saying. Season's not over. Not good. But, man, it's just, geez. I feel for the coaches over there. Ryan Day does probably feel like he's a little bit snake bit. But, hey, these are still highly rated offensive linemen. I saw somebody post this. Even without Simmons and even without now McLaughlin, Ohio State's star ranking for their offensive line is far better than, for example, Indiana's. So if you think, oh, now you can't beat Indiana, that's not an excuse. You should have plenty of talent to be able to do what you need to do. Now, will it work out that way? We shall see, my friend.
Part of the immediate emotion of saying, okay, we're done, it's over, part of that is just protective mode. It's part of the setting yourself up for the disappointment so you're prepared a little better for it, or lowering your expectation. I think it's human nature to just throw in the towel and say, for anybody to say, all right, well, it's a season that might have been now. Too bad. I think that's also part of we all do it. We do it with our own teams. We do it with fantasy football. We do it with a bet that we think's going to lose. Everyone goes to, it's over, because you just want to prepare yourself for the worst. And let's let this thing kind of unfold a little bit. It's a massive injury, and it's the second one they've had to a key unit on the offensive line that had questions coming in. Now you find out. You find out about other guys. You find out about the coaching staff. You find out what the other level of this team can get to, maybe how they can scheme better or around it. We thought going into Penn State that maybe they would coach a little differently. Maybe they would run a little different plays. You see how they tried to get to the outside quickly and have Will do more of the sprint toss plays to try to maybe help the offensive line. Then by the end of the game, you could lean on them because they had some confidence. They were in a game. They were leading. They were riding that confidence. So if they get through this game, and I'm not even saying it that way, those were the words I used. I don't think it's getting through Indiana. I think they know they can beat them. But if you do, and when you do, if you play well, if the offensive line shows up in this game, then what you do is you get what Ryan Day calls that extra boost of confidence. You get another boost. Okay, we have lightning. We caught it in a vacuum here. This is our first big test. It happens to be a top 5 matchup in our building. You win it, hopefully not in spite of your offensive line, but that they have a lot to do with it. And then all of a sudden you start asking yourself, okay, let's build off what they just did. So while it's not an ideal test or an ideal time for it to happen, because, if you had it happen in the beginning of the season, you kind of work around it, get guys experience before you got to the big part of your season. If they do win it, and they're obviously still favored to win it, and nothing's changed there, then maybe the offensive line gains a little confidence from it.
No doubt about it. And Justin Fry, if they're able to go on and achieve all of their goals, Justin Fry is not a well-liked man in Buckeye Nation due to some of the recruiting misses. I think Buckeye fans will absolutely love him if he's able to help them win a national championship still. But we'll see. It's going to be very tough without McLaughlin, without Simmons as well. But as you mentioned, man, they're still the betting favorite to win the national championship. This is the afternoon after the news broke that McLaughlin's out for the season. So they're still the betting favorite to win it all.
And not only that, on certain sites, including the one that we like, Bet365, they are even more of a favorite Saturday. It went from 13 to 13.5. It actually went up a half. Now, it's not a key number, but it did go up.
And it opened at 10.5.
It didn't go down.
That's crazy.
On this news. They just lost their starting center, and the spread went up, at least on our site, and they're still the favorite. We'll get into the CFP and the ranking show last night. I think they're back to their old decent wins / good losses matter more than, believe it or not, the ultimate result I'll explain that next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Common Man has spent the past 18 years telling you how much he hates people. And yes, that probably means you, too. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
At Roof Revivers, we save not only your roof, but your money too. Whether you need a quick repair or a full replacement, we've got you covered. While many companies jump straight to replacements, we always start with repairs. Replacements, that's our last resort. We'll provide a clear, detailed explanation of what your roof needs, complete with photos, so you know exactly why. With over 350 five-star reviews on Google, honesty is at the heart of everything we do. Roof Revivers is ready to work for you. Visit roofrevivers.com today. Roof Revivers, we fix leaky roofs.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because
5. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready to be the change and have a positive impact on your community? Consider joining the Columbus Division of Police. Starting pay is $70,000 plus, growing to 6 figures after 4 years of service. We offer paid vacations, paid holidays, and health insurance. Do you aspire to complete your degree? We offer 100% tuition reimbursement after you complete your first year of service. Contact the CPD recruiting unit at jobs@columbuspolice.org or apply online at columbus.gov/government/jobs. The City of Columbus is an equal opportunity employer.
Bob and Teresa Capace here. The holidays are the perfect time for your yes moment. Find the ring that captures your love at family-owned Worthington Jewelers. With over 1,500 styles and friendly expert guidance, you'll find the one.
Worthington Jewelers, where Columbus gets engaged.
Fan Traffic is sponsored by Great Lakes Kia. Take the winning drive to Great Lakes Kia. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes Kia. Visit greatlateskia.com.
A.J. Hawk won a national title, a Super Bowl, and a Lombardi Award, but his weekly appearance on Morning Juice Fridays at 8:33 is the real highlight of his career. If he tells you otherwise, he's lying.
Sponsored by FanDuel.
The Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Is your business generating over $1 million a year in revenue? If your financial advisory team isn't keeping pace, maybe it's time for a change. Here's Brad Hennebert with Premier Advisors.
Thanks, Bobby. Our team integrates financial planning and asset management with business accounting and tax preparation. Business owners have planning needs that are unique. We work with you to design a seamless financial services bundle tailored to your business with monthly or quarterly advisory consultations to help guide you along the way. We don't just keep score of what happened last year. Our team combines expert financial planning and wealth management with top-tier tax services, helping businesses like yours build wealth for you. Call us today at 614-524-4888. That's 614-524-4888.
Brad Hennebert is a registered representative offering securities through United Planners Financial Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through TCP Asset Management LLC. Tax services offered through Premier Tax CPAs. United Planners is not affiliated with TCP Asset Management, Premier Advisors, or Premier Tax CPAs.
Hey, folks, it's game day, and the betting's going to be intense, Drew.
You said it, Dave, but a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible.
That's right. You got to pause before you play.
Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky.
And pausing to set limits is an all-star move.
That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risk, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Ohio's public schools are safe, welcoming learning environments where everyone can thrive, no exceptions. Thanks to the nearly 120,000 public school educators in the Ohio Education Association. We are dedicated professionals who deserve respect, a living wage, and a seat at the table when decisions are made. And we're using our united voice to demand the supports and resources our students need to succeed. Because in Ohio, public education matters.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Showers are moving in. Expect rain to arrive after lunchtime today. Temperatures will get colder as the afternoon progresses. Tomorrow morning, we'll see some snow showers out there. Still expecting about 1/2 inch of accumulation on grassy surfaces. Temperatures tomorrow very cold. Wind chill values below freezing. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365 is the exclusive online sportsbook of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
This This is Rothman and Ice, the #1 rated midday show in Columbus.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
It may not have affected the betting markets, but it is national news. Absolutely. A team like Ohio State loses their starting center to a torn Achilles in practice. Not in a game. We're talking about practice. Then all of a sudden, it's national news. Second-ranked team in the country. And if they get revenge on Oregon, they'll be #1. And so you just feel awful for the kid. The CFP rankings came out last night. We'll get to some absurd stuff, but I did notice one thing. If you've got a team that has beaten a team in head-to-head, it probably should be the ultimate tiebreaker. Now, I remember the year, you remember when Ohio State lost to Penn State. Penn State had that horrible loss at Michigan. What was it, 49-10 or something? I think they had lost to Pitt,
and they lost to Pitt, yeah.
And the head-to-head didn't matter.
Right.
Because they went in, Ohio State went in over that. And by the way, they won the Big Ten.
Because that was Ohio State's only loss, and it was at Penn State. Kind of fluky. I hate to say that about, no, I don't hate to say it about James Franklin's only win against Ohio State, but it was kind of fluky with the blocked field goal return for a touchdown. But you're right. I mean, I said it at the time. Like, I understood Ohio State, and I thought Ohio State was the better team. They played it. But if I was a Penn State fan, I remember saying, I would say the exact same thing that Penn State fans are saying. It's like, yeah, we have 2 losses and you only have 1, but we beat you. It's not like we have 4 losses and you have 1, So I would have said the exact same thing if I was a Penn State fan.
Just to bring you back, it was 2016, and Ohio State had beaten Wisconsin in overtime the week before in Madison. They go to Happy Valley and they lose by 3 points. And then they wind up beating, just blowing out Nebraska. And by the way, that was when Nebraska was ranked. And then in the game against Michigan, the double overtime game, I mean, it was such a dream season, obviously, until the just implosion against Clemson that year, the 31-0 game. But if you go to Penn, so Ohio State had wins at Oklahoma, at Madison, home against Nebraska 62-3, and then beat number 3 Michigan in double overtime. The resume was massive, and your only loss was to Penn State on the road that year. But Penn State had a year where they had lost early at Pitt 42-39 and got hammered at Michigan. Now, Michigan was a top 5 team then, but they got hammered.
And Pitt ended up being, they weren't even top 25. That's probably... Yeah. If they would have, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have mattered if they would have barely lost to Pitt. They had to barely lose to Pitt. If Pitt was like a top 15 team or even top 25, maybe they would have taken Penn State. But that's what hurt. I remember Penn State, speaking of them getting screwed, if you think they got screwed, they absolutely got screwed in 94. I still can't believe they didn't have a split national championship. For those that forget, they were #1 for a long time in 94. They never lost a game. They played Indiana. They had a pretty good lead. Joe Pa called off the Dogs. It ended up being somewhat close. I think Penn State still won by 10 or something. The next week, Nebraska jumped them in the polls. Penn State fell to #2. They stayed there the rest of the year, and they stayed at #2. Undefeated Penn State, who beat Ohio State 63-14 that year. Heck of a Penn State team. Won the Rose Bowl. They weren't even split national champions in 1994. So Penn State, still feel for you guys for that.
So I bring that up, that story of the past, to bring us back to present day. And the fact that SMU lost in week 3 to BYU. They lost to them head-to-head. And we just saw that BYU lost their first game against Kansas. They were a small favorite. They lost. They both have the same record at 9-1. Why is SMU ahead of the team they lost to head-to-head? Because I'm presuming it's because they won at Louisville, who was, I don't know what they are in the rankings now, and they won against Pitt. So they have 2 top 20 wins on their record, but they lost head-to-head to a team that doesn't have 5 losses. That's the thing. BYU lost 1 game and it happened to be this week. And by the way, BYU beat Kansas State early in the year when they were ranked 13th. So I just keep coming back to, have we kind of lost our minds when it comes to what the ultimate tiebreaker should be that we don't have to imagine those two teams playing. They did.
And they have the same amount of losses. It's not, I mean, Penn State and Ohio State debate from 16 is a little, I don't know, a better debate, so to speak, because I'm with you 100%. I think BYU in this debate should be a spot ahead of SMU. Will it matter in the end? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, when you have two 9-1 teams and BYU beat SMU, I think BYU should be ahead of them.
So the other hypocrisy that I brought up the other day, and I listen, I know it's not perfect. It's not a science, this stuff. I mean, they have to go in there and judge different records, different teams, different schedules. I'm one of those believers that schedule should matter. Here's the hypocrisy, and this is obviously, I think, the world of Indiana's season. It's historical. They've never won 10. They're undefeated. They had to win a game with a backup quarterback.
It's wild, man.
It's and I've said this a million times. Their psychology is not my psychology. My psychology is knowing that the demons they should have against Ohio State go back to 1989. By the way, if you go on Ohio State's website, and you look up, or you Google the series between Ohio State and Indiana, you know when Ohio State starts it?
89?
89.
Well, you had Darkest Day 1 and then Darkest Day 2.
That's right. But why, when you look up the Ohio State-Indiana series, why isn't it the whole ball of wax? Why isn't everything?
I can't believe that that's the case.
It says like on the official site, 36-0-1 or something. And if
that's
crazy. You Google Ohio State, we'll do it during the break.
If you're going to do that for any team, shouldn't Ohio State do that for Michigan? Do anything like post-World War I? I'm not even saying post-World War II. That would be really unfair to the Wolverines. How about post-World War I? So you take out all of the Sisters of the Poor that they beat in like the 1890s and stuff like that.
So if you go on OhioStateBuckeyes.com, their website, not just somebody's website, theirs, it says opponent history versus Indiana, and then it adds from October 14th, 1989 to September 2nd of 2023, 30-0-1.
Let me ask you this. Is that the only team they do it for?
I don't know. Like I didn't want to go through all.
Okay. But if they do that for like Northwestern, because Northwestern hadn't beat them since what?
But my point is their history with Indiana goes back to what? The 1900s?
I'm surprised Ohio State would do that in their official
records.
It's
Here.
I believe you. I'm just
30-0-1.
I'm surprised they're doing it.
It makes the average person who doesn't know it think, well, they've only played 31 times.
Right.
And so, and the weird thing that I kind of unveiled to CB earlier was the hypocrisy of the committee is if the committee thinks that Indiana is the 5th ranked team now with this schedule, that means they are saying that those 10 wins matter.
Especially the way they did it.
So, but if they got their doors blown off by Ohio State, all of a sudden they're gonna just say, well, those 10 mattered when you were 5, but now that you didn't match up to the number 2 team, you're out. I don't think so. I think that would be a great hypocrisy because if not, you know where you have them ranked? You don't have them ranked 5 right now. You have them ranked 12.
This is the thing, man. I think even if there's a good chance Indiana could get blown out, and I don't think they're going to get blown out, but there's a chance they could get blown out and still make the CFP at 11-1. I think a good chance because let's say you get blown out by Ohio State. That's your only loss. You're 11-1. You blew everybody else out of the water. Ohio State is either the number 1 or number 2 team. I think 11-1 Indiana sneaks in at 10th seed, 11th seed, has to go on the road in the first round. And then even if they lose but play it close, they might be hosting a first round game.
All right, we got plenty to talk about with that as we move forward, and we'll have Adam Schefter on next, the senior NFL insider. Is Stefanski safe in Cleveland? We'll ask him next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. It's that time of year. The red bows are not out yet, but I saw someone at the dealership dusting them off. We know what that means. In the meantime, Jermaine Lexus has great inventory on both new and L certified to pick from right now with 3.49% up to 60 months on their most popular models like the ES, RX, and NX. If you're in the market, please do check them out. Jermaine Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
APCO, windows, siding, and decks. Business First says we're the largest remodeler in town. Our philosophy is simple. We don't rely on sales gimmicks to get our customers. We rely on our reputation.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
To Central Ohioans, fall means one thing, football. At Sears Heating and Cooling, fall also means one thing, furnaces. We're not plumbers or electricians. Nope. For 74 years, we've been your Central Ohio heating and cooling experts. Need an electrician or plumber? We'll gladly give you a referral, but we won't pretend to be your one-stop shop for all the trades. We're HVAC experts, and our mission is to provide the highest quality service at the best possible price. That's the local advantage of doing business with your neighbors at Sears Heating and Cooling. Online at SearsHeatingCooling.com.
When November turns to December, we all get a little nostalgic, don't we? Thinking about Christmas days spent with family and friends, some still here, some not. Memories are a crucial part of Christmas. Make new memories at Oakland Nursery this season. Become engulfed with the scent of pine, holiday music serenading you over the speakers, and the crisp air. From Christmas trees to wreaths to decorative roping to gifts, Oakland is a Christmas staple. Celebrate the season of giving. Merry Christmas from Oakland Nursery.
Hey, it's Anthony. Do more with your money at Tel-Ohio Credit Union. If you know Tel-Ohio Choice Checking, you know all the perks that come with your account. Cash in your benefits by setting up an account today. Find out more at telohio.org.
Certain restrictions apply. Tel-Ohio is open to all in Central and Southwestern Ohio. Federally insured by NCUA.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh, no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Meijer knows that Thanksgiving is a time to come together, eat together, and share together. During the week of Thanksgiving, November 24th through the 30th, when you buy Meijer brand foods, our Simply Give program will feed up to 4 million neighbors in need. So when you bring that perfectly fluffed stuffing to the table, the cranberry sauce and green bean casserole, you're actually bringing more good to more neighbors. Let's bring more good to Thanksgiving with Meijer brand and Simply Give. Exclusions apply. See Meijer.com for details.
Hey, it's Anthony. Happy Honda Days are at Germain Honda of Dublin. Rich tells me they're going to help you celebrate your new vehicle with 0% APR up to 72 months on select 24 and 25 models with no payments for 90 days. And leases starting as low as $249 a month. Germain Honda of Dublin, where you'll get same-day service, no appointment necessary. See the dealer for all these amazing details. Strike now at Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road just south of 270.
Great game. You got into the end zone again and again. How'd it feel?
Awesome. Like getting a new iPhone again and again. I just got the new iPhone 16 Pro today.
Really?
Yeah. And with AT&T Next Up Anytime, I can upgrade early every year.
Very nice.
Feel like an MVP again. Learn how to get the new iPhone 16 Pro on us and the latest iPhone every year with AT&T Next Up Anytime. AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Offer subject to change. Additional fees, terms, and restrictions apply. $0 offer may not be available on future iPhones. Next Up Anytime feature may be discontinued at any time. See att.com/iPhone for details.
Adam Schefter here with Vivid Seats. We've got some late-breaking news coming out of the stands. According to multiple sources, Vivid Seats fans are scoring rewards on every purchase and at a rapid pace. Obviously, these rewards are a game changer, and coupled with their MVP-worthy ticket selection, why get tickets anywhere else? Don't drop the ball this season. Shop with Vivid Seats and earn rewards on every ticket. And as the official ticketing partner of ESPN, Vivid Seats is offering you $20 off your first $200 ticket purchase with code Schefter. That's code Schefter.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
NFL Playbook with ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Sponsored by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
All right, here we go. NFL Playbook with the man. He is Adam Schefter, senior NFL insider for ESPN. Shefty, how you doing?
Hello, Anthony. How are we doing today?
Okay, we got a lot to get to, so we'll get to it right away. You know, Woody Johnson firing his GM, Joe Douglas. This is 6 weeks ago. He called it the best roster he's had in 25 years, and then he cans the guy who put it together. Why now?
Well, cans the guy because they're not winning. He's frustrated. He's upset. He's bothered. The Jets right now, honestly, are just not producing. And Joe Douglas's contract was up after this year. And I think most people believed he wouldn't be back anyway. I think the interesting part of this is that you have a situation where he moves on from with 7 weeks to go and doesn't wait for it to play out. And I just think that speaks to his level of frustration.
Do you think Is this true that he suggested to the coaches, and I'm talking about Woody Johnson, the owner, that they bench Rodgers in favor of Tyrod Taylor early in the year?
There was a meeting that day, and I think that they were going over a whole bunch of things. And the way it was explained to me is it came up in jest from Woody. Now, again, believe what you want to believe. I was aware that conversation had occurred. Again, I was told it was in jest. It was not serious. But, again, it came up. So there you go.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to that real part, because I find that the most interesting part, that Rodgers is signed for next season. What are the chances that this whole thing gets blown apart and that Rodgers goes away?
Well, look, the head coach who brought him in is gone. The GM who brought him in is gone. The team is obviously changing up everything, and it's a major overhaul. So I don't know that they're going to want Aaron Rodgers back, and I don't know that he's going to want to be back. When you watch him play this year, does he look like a guy who is excited about playing, wants to play, enthused, that kind of thing? So look, I think that all the signs are pointing in the direction of him leaving, and let's see how it plays out. Let's see who they hire as a head coach, as a GM. Let's see what their situation is. There's nothing that's ever absolute in this league, right? Mm-hmm. But I think we all could look at this practically and realistically and say that it certainly looks like this is shaping up to be his final season with the Jets. Maybe his final season in the NFL, too. Who knows?
Right. I mean, all athletes, especially of his caliber, would like to write their own ending. It's not that easy. I guess it took a little bit for him to even want to come back after the old darkness retreat. Let's play a little game then. If he's not with the Jets, but he still wants to play, and presumably he's healthy enough to play at 41, where could he go?
It's one of those circumstantial situations, Anthony, where I think it's going to have to be the right fit if he wants to play. I mean, like you look at Russell Wilson, it was the right situation in Pittsburgh. It's going to be the right situation. I don't think there's a team out there that's licking its chops, waiting for Aaron Rodgers to come free this offseason. I don't think that's going on. But I do think, I'm making this up. Minnesota loses Sam Darnold in free agency. J.J. McCarthy might not be ready. Hey, Aaron Rodgers wants to go in and play the Packers one more. I'm making this up, right? Mm-hmm. But something to that effect.
Well, it would follow the old Favre blueprint, wouldn't it, going to the Vikings? An ex-Packer going to the Vikes. I do want to take you right there then. Sam Darnold, he's come down to earth here. They're winning in spite of him a little bit after his dream start. Does this make sense that no matter how this ends, I guess unless it ends in a Super Bowl, that Darnold will be gone?
Well, he's a free agent after this year. His contract's up, right? So Sam Darnold's going to have options. And by the way, if the season plays out the way that they'd like it to, then maybe he plays so well they want to keep him. Again, anything's possible. Yeah. But Sam Darnold is playing himself into a pretty good contract. There may be somebody that wants him. Like maybe the Jets want Sam Darnold back in New York. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
If they paid him enough, he might go. But anything other than that, I don't think he'd want to do that. But money talks.
Listen, again, it just depends how it goes. But there's so many different scenarios where in November 20th, middle of the afternoon, and it's fun to speculate on. We just don't know. But sure. I think you could say, there are scenarios you could see Aaron Rodgers playing. There are scenarios you could see him walking. You could see him retire. There's a lot of ways it could go. Yeah. And ultimately, he's going to have a big say in what he decides to do or not do. And we'll see how much interest he generates.
Yeah, that's right. Sam Darnold replacing Aaron Rodgers in New York, I didn't have on my bingo card. I hope if it shows up, it's great for all of us. But I understand where
Anthony, we're just having some fun here, right?
Absolutely.
Again, I'm not telling you that's happening.
I know.
I'm just telling you, Sam Darnold is going to get some interest, I think.
No doubt.
And it's going to be with teams in the quarterback, and we're talking about a quarterback draft that's not supposed to be rich with solutions.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a quarterback draft that's considered as strong as the one last year. So if that's the case and you're looking for a veteran to step in, well, Sam Darnold certainly qualified.
It's kind of a weird little give and take between Browns fans here in Ohio about Kevin Stefanski. He signed I think a multi-year extension this past summer. I don't know the details of that. He's done so much with so little as far as the quarterback position. He's run through a lot of them. Yet I think Browns fan, a lot of them are like, you know what? It may have just run its course. Mike Vrabel's in the building, so that's adding another layer of temptation for Browns fans. So I'll ask it this way. Does it matter how this season plays out for Kevin Stefanski, or do you think it's foregone either way, that he's absolutely there no matter what, or that he's absolutely gone no matter what? Where do you stand on Stefanski's stability in Cleveland?
I think that Kevin Stefanski is a two-time Coach of the Year who basically got an extension last spring, right? Mm-hmm. So if he got the extension last spring and he's a two-time coach, I believe he'll be safe. Now it's the Browns. Anything could happen, but that's the deal.
I know you've probably been asked a million times. I think I asked you last week about what you're hearing as far as interest from the NFL with Deion Sanders. He did speak on that, Deion did, about how happy he is in Boulder, but certainly his son is going to go into the pros at a very high level here, and maybe he would be tempted to follow him. Are you following any interest from the NFL as far as knocking on Deion's door to try to lure him out of Boulder?
I think it's going to be interesting. I think there might be some teams that are interested. We'll see how that goes. I think he could have some interest. We'll see how that... Again, it's hard to answer these things on November 20th. It's just hard. They're fun topics. I get it. But they're not just black and white answers today, unfortunately.
How about this? Where are you on Mike McCarthy? This has to be it, right? There will be an opening in Dallas, or no?
His contract's up after this year.
Right.
So, I mean, it's pretty simple to say that they're not, do you think that they would be enthused right now about extending him?
No, that's my point. There's going to be an opening at one of the most high-profile professional franchises in history, and Jerry Jones is going to try to tab the next guy. I think I asked you last year about Belichick, but everyone keeps telling me, well, Jerry doesn't want a high-profile coach. He wants somebody that he can puppet, and he's still kind of the last line of defense when it comes to his team. But maybe he's learned his lesson. I guess I'm putting it that way. Do you believe that Dallas will have an opening? I think we both answered that. Most likely they will. And then if they do, who will they go after in your mind? Who would be on that list?
Well, I think that they like to swing big. I think they like to feel comfortable. I think that they like coaches who have won. We're spitballing here, so I want to be very clear. They have not said to me, we're not extending Mike McCarthy here. But again, if we're going to come up in our minds of a list of candidates, to me, Deion does make sense there. Yeah. He does. To me, Jason Witten makes sense there, taking a look at him. They love that guy. I could see that. I could see them taking a look at Bill Belichick.
He does like older coaches, right? He does. I mean, he's hired a lot of older ones.
Any of those, Anthony.
Yeah.
I could see any of those.
Yeah. I mean, think about the guy like Switzer and Parcells and Wade Phillips, and who knows? Maybe he'd call up Pete Carroll and say, "What are you up to?" I don't know. There's a lot. I think it's going to be a fun story to watch, and I think you're going to be all over it, as you should be. It'll be fun. This season did Kansas City losing change your opinion on them at all?
No. I mean, again, I think that they're a great team. They're going for a three-peat. They have a generational quarterback. They have a Hall of Fame tight end, a Hall of Fame coach. They're incredible. I wouldn't want to have to beat them when it's clutch. Just because they lost one game in Buffalo in the regular season doesn't mean that I don't think that they're not a formidable team here for the postseason. They are. I think that they have some questions and issues, left tackle, but they're a great team. They're going to be there in the end.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how far they're going to be able to go.
Yeah, still goes through Arrowhead, even with that loss. At least today it does.
Yeah.
So, all right, my man, great stuff. We checked a lot of boxes today on speculation, which I love to do. So continue to be
Thank
well.
you, Anthony. I appreciate you.
You got it. Adam Schefter, senior NFL insider on ESPN. He was on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. All right, there was an old movie with a famous quote, first rule of Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club. First rule when you're talking about another team that you don't want to talk about, don't slip up. You'll hear it next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Looking for your next Subaru? At Byers Airport Subaru, we give you options from start to finish. Browse and shop entirely online from the comfort of your home at columbussubaru.com or stop by and visit one of our friendly brand specialists just by the airport.
Right now, you can get the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester for 4.9% for up to 72 months.
Whether you prefer to click or come in, we've got you covered. Your journey starts at Byers Airport Subaru. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Subject to credit approval. Financing offer term up to 72 months on 2025 Subaru Forester. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. See dealer for details. Offer ends 12/2/24.
At Humana, our Medicare Advantage plans give you coverage and care you can count on, along with guided support to help you feel your best. Our licensed sales agents are ready to help you understand your options and choose a Medicare Advantage plan. You'll feel confident because you have plan options that fit your needs. You could have a plan with a $0 premium and even personalized care from a wide network of doctors, or all-in-one plans that may include medical and prescription coverage, as well as routine dental, vision, and hearing. When it comes to the benefits and support you need, Humana has Medicare Advantage plans made for your well-being and your wallet. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
APCO Windows Siding and Decks. As a family company, my dad started in 1962. We don't rely on sales gimmicks, so get multiple estimates. Just make sure one of them is from APCO.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change will help ease your oil change-anxiety. Picture expert technicians who are quick but not rushed. When you hear the bell, breathe in and out. Now, let go of your oil change-anxiety. Visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change today and find automotive peace. No appointment needed.
Lindsay Honda clearance.
Factory authorized clearance on most Hondas in stock.
They'll go fast because Lindsay is offering 0% up to 60 months on every 2024 Honda in stock.
That's 0% up to a full 60 months.
It's Black Friday all month long as the clearance begins at Lindsay Honda.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
FX presents American Sports Story. Aaron Hernandez.
Football is all I got. Everything's okay when I'm playing ball.
You can't make mistakes, Aaron. People are watching you.
From executive producer Ryan Murphy.
Is there something that you want to tell me?
You don't know the kind of thoughts I have.
Aaron! FX's American Sports Story. Aaron Hernandez. All new Tuesdays on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Dog friendly. And if you ain't down with that, this is Rothman and Ice.
All right, anybody that's done this job has had some Freudian slips before. Some are not even Freudian. They're just direct. They're just not even, they wouldn't be even called slip-ups. You want them out there. Some of the funniest stuff that you and I have probably experienced in our lives, in broadcasting, we probably can't really say on the radio right now because they were total bloopers. And then some of the stuff, when Frank Caliendo was here, I talked about during the break, Frank sat in here for 45 minutes. And so when I welcome him, I was looking right at him, and I just said very casually, Frank, welcome back to C-Bus, and immediately right into Jim Rome. C-Bus, epic. But my favorite part of that interview is he and I were having a little, because it's kind of an era thing, and we go back a ways, and Maddie was just doing a great job listening, trying to pick up on some of the impersonations, and Frank just looks at him, just, Iceman, cooling off. It was amazing. Anyway, I got to find those clips.
He's so good.
So Texas A&M's head coach Mike Elko was trying not to talk about a certain team. And that's why I'm buying this as a total Freudian slip. He really isn't helping clear up questions about his team's focus. So on yesterday, he was asked if the hype around his team's November 30th showdown with Texas was a concern for him as the Aggies prepare for their game against Auburn this weekend. And it was the classic look-ahead question, and his answer may have been quite revealing.
There's already so much talk about November 30th, and it was announced as a night game today. How do you deal with that with your guys and saying, hey, we still have something ahead of us at Auburn, or is that even a big issue with your team?
I don't think it's an issue. I think when you're in the situation we're in, it's easy to focus on the task at hand. I think, those big games earlier in the year, maybe you look ahead. If we didn't have that stake, what's at stake, maybe you would worry about it. I think our focus is single-handedly on on Auburn right now and locked in on what we got to get done.
I mean, it couldn't have been scripted better. He's telling you in an entire paragraph how they're laser focused on Auburn, and then when he drops we're single-handedly focused on Texas, Jim Rome, Auburn. It's really funny. And I am buying it as, you're talking about both teams. And these coaches, when they get into these press conferences, a lot of guys, they're trying to answer stuff genuinely, but a lot of stuff is in their heads as classic cliche. They can just do it on cue. Like, this team's going to challenge us. We got to prepare really hard. We're going to have a hard practice this week. All the guys are taking it seriously. But he's in his first season as head coach of A&M. And I just feel like, coming from Duke, and I'm all for it. He's got the Aggies in a great spot in his first year. And
nice hire by Ross Bjork. His final big hire at A&M. That was a good hire.
Yeah, but now he's going to 4-6 Auburn, and they've got a game against Texas, and they're tied at the top of the SEC with Texas, both 5-1. And so it's a logical question as they're going, to this game, as they got a massive showdown in 2 weeks. I said yesterday that, the best thing that could have happened to Ohio State this week is that Indiana did beat Michigan. And I'm not talking about for the ranking. Ohio State's already in no matter whether they lose or win. It was about attention. It was about not overlooking this, as Ohio State puts it, the 31-year speed bump over Indiana.
I still can't believe that's on Ohio State's official site.
Yeah, well, They cut it off right at the win streak when it starts.
The ghost of Anthony Thompson haunts them.
Yeah, they rolled back the odometer to 1989. We're going to start there. And so I just feel like that's a big part of this week is that the whole country is talking about this story that is cool, which is that Indiana has a 5 in front of their name 10 weeks into the season. And I don't listen, you interview the players, they can only say what they can say. If they're going to manufacture the same intensity for Indiana as they will for Michigan, you'd hope, but I think it's human nature to say they can't. But I love the fact that Indiana's the talk of college football, and Ohio State, they should have Ohio State's full attention.
No doubt about it, and it would be dangerous. Let's say there was this exact Indiana team, but they had lost to Michigan, and maybe they had lost a previous game. I don't know who that'd be since they had been blowing everybody out. Maybe because they had all those they still won that game by 14, even though Indiana had 6 turnovers.
Northwestern, they were in a game in the fourth quarter.
So let's say that Indiana team was coming here, obviously not ranked 5th, maybe not even ranked or barely ranked in the top 20. Then I think it would be even more dangerous, as crazy as that sounds. Because Ohio State, no matter what they would say, they're not facing number 5 Indiana. They're facing whatever number 20 Indiana, if they're even ranked, even though Indiana would still be a good team. I'm talking about the exact same team that's coming here on Saturday, same coach with Cignetti, everything. I think that would be dangerous because they would, automatically be looking ahead to Michigan, in my opinion. See, I almost slipped right there. After what's happened the last 3 years. I mean, they've had that. I don't need to tell anybody this. They've had that circled and then some in Sharpie. So, but I think this enables them to put their full attention on Indiana because Indiana's a legit team. And I think it was almost a perfect game for Ohio State against the Indiana-Michigan game because if Indiana would have just destroyed Michigan, it might have been like, oh my gosh, are we even going to be able to beat this team? But Michigan dominated the second half. I think that's partially because Cignetti was playing not to lose there after they got the 17-3 lead, which is not usually how he operates. But hey, I mean, there's no two ways about it. Michigan did dominate the second half. But I'm glad that Indiana won that game, and we're having a top 5 matchup, Anthony, that nobody would have predicted entering the year.
All right, first hour in the books, second hour coming your way after a SportsCenter update. We spoke with Adam Schefter about the Aaron Rodgers situation. Somebody says there's the most logical next destination. That's next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Okay, name? Occupation? Great, you get a brand new Kia. For less than lunch, under $5 a day at Great Lakes Kia.
Is that a turkey?
Of course, we're talking turkey. With event pricing and the credit approve-a-thon.
Wow, and new Kias are less than lunch?
Yes, under $5 a day. Lease new 24 Kia Forte LXS, EV6 Wind, and Sorento LX. All 3 under $5 a day.
Wow, that's only $139 a month for 24 months.
Plus new 24 Kia Telluride LX under $8 a day.
$249 for 24 months.
He just got an EV6 with 0% financing.
Lucky goose.
Turkey.
Turkey, right. But I'd never get approved.
If you've got a job, you ride.
You guys are great.
Great cars, great people. Great Lakes Kia.
In Columbus.
GreatLakesKia.com.
GreatLakesKia.com.
You're such a ham.
To qualified buyers, visit GreatLakesKia.com for details.
If it's hot, it's at GNC. And we bring you the best new stuff first. GNC has this winter's newest in weight loss, muscle building, and wellness. And the best energy drink flavors anywhere. If it's at the top of your feed, it's already at GNC. Ask a GNC coach about the newest drops from Rise, Mutant, Alani Nu, Drip Drop, and more at your local GNC store, or shop our full collection of flavors and online exclusives at GNC.com. If it's hot, it's at GNC. Live well.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like North America's #1 home fire safety brand, Kidda. Because on a day full of football sounds you love, like fight songs, roaring crowds, and your favorite commentators.
Like me, Kirk Herbstreit.
The last sound you want to hear is... Defend your game time with Kidda and the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Based on total household installations as of December 2023.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Baker. Number 2 Ohio State already had their hands full getting ready for a matchup with number 5 Indiana Saturday at noon. Things got more complicated yesterday as center Seth McLaughlin tore his Achilles in practice. He will miss the remainder of the season. We'll hopefully hear what the plan is moving forward when Ryan Day speaks with the media today after practice. The Ohio State women's basketball team is ranked 12th in the country, and they're down in Athens tonight taking on OU at 7. Pre-game coverage over on ESPN Columbus begins at 6:45. The Columbus Blue Jackets made a couple of roster moves today. They send defenseman David Juracek and forward Mikkel Putia to Cleveland. These moves paved the way for Kent Johnson to be activated before tomorrow's home game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. This one brought to you by Dormar Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an emergency repair? Dormar can be there today, guaranteed. Visit DORMARheating.com.
No one funks up the work microwave like these two. Fish again? You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Second hour of the program. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, will be on at 1:33. We'll get a real feel on Indiana coming off their bye week. And then, obviously, big news last night with Seth McLaughlin going down with an apparent Achilles injury. It's been reported by a million sites. Ohio State has not confirmed it yet, but we assume that'll happen after practice today. We'll get into their adjustments on that and what they have to do in moments. Ask Schefter about Aaron Rodgers. He is signed for next season, but now there's no coach and there's no GM, and the whole thing is down the tubes.
The owner wanted him benched.
Well, Schefter said that was in jest. He felt when he was told about that meeting that he felt that was in jest. Because play that out for a second. Why in the world would you spend that amount of money? And after, what was it, after 4 weeks, he said?
But Woody Johnson is a little...
At 2-2?
I know, but Woody Johnson is known to be...
Yeah. I think it was an emotional, in-jest comment after they lost to Denver 10-9 in the ugliest game of the year in New York. They were still 2-2. They were hosting Minnesota. They're going to London. You're not going to bench him for the London game or wherever they played that. I feel like that was in jest. I will buy that. Remember, they lost to San Francisco to start the year. They come back and beat two teams they should beat, Tennessee and New England. The Denver game they should have never lost. But there is no way that Woody Johnson, that would be...
It's funny
because... Why would be anything he would want to do at that point?
It's too bad Diana Rossini doesn't still work at ESPN. We have ESPN versus ESPN here because she's standing by it saying that that's what she's hearing through sources. Is that it was not in jest, that Woody Johnson actually wanted Tyrod Taylor in there. This is on The Athletic. I'm trying to pull up the story right now. I know Diana Rossini was on the byline. I think they might have another gentleman on the byline as well, but it's in their Scoop City newsletter. I was reading it this morning. So
believe what you want, he said.
I think Schefter's is as plugged. Not that Diana's not. If Schefter said it was in jest, it probably was because he's as plugged in as anybody.
But think about it. Just play it out for a minute. They're 2-2. It was an ugly loss. How much money did you pay that guy? He's Aaron Rodgers. You think you still can make the playoffs? You would only bench him if he was a liability from a health standpoint. Like, hey, we can't continue to throw the 40-year-old guy out there if he's half of what he is. Like, it's hard for me to believe that at that point of the season, now, you go to 2-6 and you have him signed for next year at massive money and he's coming off an Achilles, bubble wrap him. Then I'm fine with saying, hey, we're going to bench Aaron now because we think our season's over. Actually, now it makes more sense at 3-8.
Yeah, and nobody else is reporting this. So it's Diana Rossini and Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic are reporting this through multiple sources. Now, some people in the comments are like, obviously Joe Douglas is your source here.
Yeah. Well, right. He just got fired, so he wants to make Woody Johnson look bad.
Right. Now, Woody Johnson doesn't have, isn't known for making the best choices, so who knows? But you're right. If you look at this logically, like, you're not going to freak out after 4 games when you're 2-2 and you have Aaron Rodgers and you're paying him all this money. And Tyrod Taylor, credit to him. He has a long career, but that's your answer? Tyrod. We've seen enough of Tyrod Taylor to know he's not the answer. So, yeah, it's hard to believe, but they're standing by their story. They say they have multiple sources, so it can't just be Joe Douglas if you take them at their word. But there you go, Anthony.
If he's gonna leave, then you want him to be healthy. The last thing they want is for him to get injured again. Then he's worth nothing. I don't even know what he's worth. So here's the payoff on the tees. And it's kind of a trick question. The logical destination for him is to be done, is retirement. It's not another team. It's not. And I know he wouldn't want to write the ending like this. He went there with hope. I got injured through no fault of his own, really, other than being the age he is, and then had to come back and he can deal with pressure. I know that. It's just he's not performing. He's not the same guy. And I don't know if another offseason would change that. They gave him another weapon in Devontae Adams. The team's flawed. The defense isn't as good as I thought they would be. And now they probably need to break up with Rodgers. But it could be, could he start for other bad teams? Yeah. You would take Rodgers on any direct team and say we can probably be a little better with him. But
why would he want to do that? You're right.
Right.
We see it all the time. I mean, it's so ironic to me that they're not following the exact same path, but Favre goes to New York only for a year, and then I believe it was just a year, then goes to Minnesota, as you know, your Vikings, has a great year, and I'm thinking, walk away, Brett. Walk away. He comes back the next year, doesn't go well, and at least Brett had the chance to go out on top, and I'm sure not completely on top, going out with a great year, and he didn't do that. Aaron probably wants to go out at least with a good individual season, so I imagine he'll come back next year.
Here's the list.
But I agree with you. He should just retire.
It's going to be hard because that's not the way he saw it going. He wants another playoff run of some kind. This was the team to do it. Now, I'm looking at these numbers of trying to get out of this thing. So if he doesn't retire, he's due $23 million in 2025. Okay. It's the final year of the restructured deal that he signed with them. And New York can't just cut him after this year without paying a massive price. So cutting or trading him, then you're losing $25 million or the majority of what the Jets' entire salary cap would be, depending on who else they cut. So I don't think so. That's not going to happen. Now, if you designate him as a post-June 1 cut, you'd save some money. And that may be it. So the team would get the same savings if it literally held him on the roster now until June 1st and then traded him after that. So it seems unlikely to me that anyone's going to want him anyway, especially for a big price. He's a 41-year-old, past his prime quarterback who I thought still had a little magic in the arm if you could protect him.
They were hoping it'd be their Tom Brady, that they were the Bucs, and they would get at least, because, I mean, as we all know, the celebrations from Jets fans going into last year, they were on top of the world. And if you would have told them, this is how it's going to work out, he's going to blow his Achilles on with the fourth play of the game in the first week of the season, miss the rest of the year. Then the next year he's going to come back. You guys have high hopes. The head coach is going to be fired after 5 games, and then the GM's going to get fired before week 12. It could not have worked out any worse for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
That. He said if it doesn't work out, we'll all be gone. Remember when he said that?
I don't. Hey, he got that
you remember that, right? That clip we played from Aaron Rodgers when he said, basically, if this goes south, we're all going to be out of here. And then I remember us doing that show thinking, well, speak for yourself. That's, now you're throwing everybody else under the bus. If things don't work out, that you should all be fired, just speak for yourself. And so there's no guarantee. The point is that he'll be back in a Jets uniform next year. And it feels like it's headed that way. GM gone, coach gone. I know the last guy to go would be the player.
But who would want him, though?
Well, that's a great question.
Because you're right. The Jets are stuck with him. The Jets would love to trade him, and I'm sure they would eat some of the contract. Maybe they'd have to throw in a draft pick. They would love, I'm sure, to just end this 2-year experiment, this failed experiment. But like,
they're going to Raiders are going to draft a quarterback. So the only thing you could do is if you wanted Rodgers as a mentor or a 1-year placeholder while you don't start the rookie, then maybe you'd go that route. Like, so it'd be the Raiders. If Darnold leaves in free agency, the question that I asked Schefter, and he brought up the Packers, it's only if J.J. McCarthy somehow would not rehab correctly from this injury.
Now, that would be crazy with the whole Favre thing.
Yeah, it would be following
Green
the blueprint.
Bay
right.
to the Jets
it'd be the exact,
to the Vikings.
Be the exact blueprint.
That'd be crazy. No, you used, what was it, the 11th overall pick, the 10th overall pick on JJ? I know he's hurt this year, but if he's not ready next year, then he probably shouldn't have been the 10th overall pick.
Here's the deal. I'm making up teams that I don't think he'd even want to go to, even if he had a choice.
Why, like the Raiders? Why is he going to go to the Raiders?
Colts, Titans.
Colts, you could make, I don't know. How does he feel about Peyton? Maybe he'd be like, well, yeah. Peyton loved it there. Peyton won there. Colts had Flacco until he his pumpkin finally smashed. He'd be the latest washed up quarterback. What it started with after Andrew Luck retired. I'm not going to forget somebody. It's like Phillip Rivers went through there. Matt Ryan. They just kept getting Carson Wentz, who wasn't even washed up. Just turns out he wasn't good.
Here's the
football.
deal: are the Colts going to draft another quarterback after taking Anthony Richardson at number 4?
Probably not, because
he would need a veteran placeholder.
He looked good last week. Of course, probably next week he'll throw 5 interceptions. Yeah. But I think they'll probably give Anthony Richardson another year because most of his rookie year was wiped out. I thought he was done when they benched him for Flacco, especially after it was the tap out. That's the first time in football history I think that's happened.
Well, it's not the first time in history that it's happened. Usually it happens because you've tweaked something, not that you admit in a press conference afterward that you were, quote,
That's what
tired,
I mean, though. It's never happened where you tap out because you're tired.
Yes, and then admit it.
Yes. We've seen quarterbacks all the time where they can barely even talk about, they feel like they can barely even breathe. They find a way to take the snap and hand the ball off. We just never saw that before. Anyway, hopefully he's a young kid. Hopefully that was just a mistake. Ryan Kelly got on him and said, they had a private conversation about it, the leader of the team, the center. So he's very talented. I think they'll give him another year. They're not going to draft a quarterback. And another thing to keep in mind, you listen to all these draft analysts. They say this is and I think we can see this for ourselves. You don't have to be a draft analyst. This is not a good quarterback draft. So if you're a team you're banking on, okay, we got to get a quarterback in this draft. Dane Brugler, I think he does a great job for the Athletic, has Cam Ward as the best quarterback. Then it's Shedeur Sanders, but he has them Cam Ward's the 16th overall player. It's not a mock draft. He does in order regardless of positions. He's got Cam Ward 16th, Shedeur 21st. Then it's Milroe, then Nussmeier, and then that's it in the top 50. It's just not a good year for quarterbacks.
Yeah, and by the way, that won't change anything in my mind about where they're selected. Because if CB's Brownies are picking 3rd and Cam Ward is there, he's going. No?
And why not? No?
Why not?
No, absolutely not. He doesn't fit the style of the offense at all.
What about Shedeur?
Yeah, I've been all over Shedeur Sanders. Absolutely. If he's there, I want him.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
I thought Cam's gotten a lot better. Why wouldn't you be able to fit him in there?
I thought Shedeur would be the first quarterback off the board. It sounds like most draft analysts right now are saying Cam Ward would be the first, but it's splitting hairs. Those are the top two.
Well, let me ask you this. Go back to why you think he's got a big arm. If you can turn him into it's like trying to tell Caleb Williams not to play hero ball. Why couldn't you coach that into him? What are you afraid
because
of?
His hero ball leads to making very bad decisions, and I don't know if you've seen some of the interceptions or the turnovers he's had. The cross-the-field throwback interception he threw at Cal was one of the worst decisions I've seen from a potential first-round quarterback in my time watching football.
Decision-making's coachable, though. Josh Allen, he was a turnover machine at the beginning of his career.
It is, but do I trust that right now? Probably not with the current standing of this organization.
So if you're picking 3rd, you're not taking a quarterback?
No, I'd probably take best available.
This or that actually might be smart, because if you don't believe a quarterback is even worth a top 10 pick, let's say, you could almost like talk yourself into it if you're like, okay, maybe he's not the third best player in the draft, but he's probably at least the 10th best player. If you don't think he's even in the top 20, you're not going to take a quarterback at 3.
Their problem is Deshaun, right? And money.
It is, but the consensus thought is that Sanders is really the only guy worth taking at the top there. Everyone else is just kind of a big question mark.
I agree with that. I think Sanders is the best, but some people disagree with this.
That hasn't stopped NFL teams before
best.
In swinging for a quarterback every single year. We come back with ins and outs. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Join Bobby Mack and Jody Shelley for the Inside Edge, a behind-the-scenes look at all things Blue Jackets.
Wednesday night at 7.
Your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan. Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Joey. Here's something that ECO stands for that you did not see coming. Okay. Echocardiogram. I did not see that coming.
Get Eco.
Most people think if they call someone about their furnace or heat pump, some unscrupulous salesman is going to pressure them to buy a whole new unit, even if their old one could be repaired and give them years more service.
Get Eco.
Your heart starts racing and you're sweating and breathing funny, and your echocardiogram just goes nuts.
I'll say.
As the guy who invented those hospital wristbands that always stick to your arm hair, I know a thing or two about echocardiograms.
Get Eco.
But call Eco, and our team will explain all your options, what you can fix, how much it costs, and how that compares to a whole new system.
And your echocardiogram?
Nice and flat. I mean flat-ter. Actually, flat is bad. Don't worry, they didn't let me invent any of the medical stuff.
Get Eco.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Okay, name? Occupation? Great. You get a brand new Kia. For less than lunch, under $5 a day at Great Lakes Kia.
Is that a turkey?
Of course, we're talking turkey. With event pricing and the credit approve-a-thon.
Wow, and new Kias are less than lunch?
Yes, under $5 a day. Lease new 24 Kia Forte LXS, EV6 Wind, and Sorento LX. All three under $5 a day.
Wow, that's only $139 a month for 24 months.
Plus new 24 Kia Telluride LX under $8 a day.
$249 for 24 months.
He just got an EV6 with 0% financing.
Lucky goose.
Turkey.
Turkey, right. But I'd never get approved.
If you've got a job, you ride.
You guys are great.
Great cars, great people. Great Lakes Kia.
In Columbus.
GreatLakesKia.com.
GreatLakesKia.com.
You're such a ham.
To qualified buyers, visit GreatLakesKia.com for details.
The Buckeyes are back at the shoe for a Big Ten battle with Indiana.
Live fan coverage starts Saturday morning at 6:30 with the Kick at Noon.
Every game, every season. Your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Come try Skyline Chili's new mac and cheese 3-way, made with creamy cavatappi pasta in a 3-cheese blend, topped with Skyline chili and their shredded Wisconsin cheddar. The new mac and cheese 3-way at participating Skyline locations for a limited time.
Billiards Plus has the area's best selection of pool tables, shuffleboard tables, poker tables, and more. Santa will be here soon, and there's still inventory in stock, so get yours before Billiards Plus runs out. Don't forget your grill, too. Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Common Man and T-Bone here for Hollywood Casino Columbus. Hey, Bone, did you know the sportsbook is now called ESPN Bet?
I did, and you can watch your favorite teams on the biggest screens, place your bets, and grab some wings with an ice-cold pint.
Maybe you're too boring and don't want to go to the casino. Good news. You can keep the action going and place your bets on the go with the ESPN Bet app.
The ESPN Bet Sportsbook is your 50-yard line ticket to odds, point spreads, and over-unders.
It's the place to be. Losers must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
November is an ideal month to plant trees in Ohio because the soil is still warm, which reduces the transplant stress. Plus, trees require less water in November than in the heat of the summer, allowing roots to grow in the cooler temperatures. When planting trees, keep these tips in mind. Select trees that are zone hardy for where you plan to plant. Avoid planting trees that produce slip hazards like fruits and nuts close to sidewalks. And don't plant large trees near or under utility lines. To learn more about the November tree planting, contact an ISA-certified arborist near you by going to trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Enroll at healthcare.gov by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Tracking showers this afternoon. Rain is likely between about lunchtime and 4 p.m. We have a cold front rolling on through. We're going to see some very gusty winds this afternoon, along with temperatures much colder by the later half of the day. Rain and snow showers expected tomorrow. Much colder highs in the 30s. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365 is the exclusive online sportsbook of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Rothman and Ice present In or Out.
Just a little of the old in and out.
All right, CB, what you got?
C-Bus. What praise that?
Epic. Oh, wait, play it again.
C-Bus. What praise that?
Epic. Oh, I was talking over him. Do you have the
Iceman? It was about as good as I could do, but yes, I do have that one too.
All right, play that one.
Iceman cooling off.
All right. That's got to go in my system. We wish Matty well. He's been under the weather. And the irony around here is that he's the most careful germaphobe of any of us. And I mean, he'll wipe down every microphone, every keyboard, every surface. And
he's got a box of those Clorox wipes everywhere he goes here.
All right, give Matt.
Now he knows he doesn't need to do that. It doesn't work.
Give Matty one more bit of encouragement from Frank.
The Iceman cooling off.
All right, there you go.
So good.
All right, take it away, CB.
All right, so maybe Woody Johnson was just a few weeks too early on his idea to bench Aaron Rodgers, because I will ask you, are you in or out on benching Aaron Rodgers now to embrace the tank for maybe another quarterback?
Yes.
Here's the problem.
Which
are you
quarterback?
guaranteeing me that benching him would actually send it to a tank? Like,
you're getting on that Tyrod Taylor
I'm wondering if
train.
Tyrod's better and he's going to be more motivated than even Rodgers would be.
That might be the awkward truth.
The awkward truth is if you want to tank, maybe you let him continue to play.
Gee, if you want to tank, bench Garrett Wilson. There you go. Then you will definitely tank.
But I'm in on probably protecting him at this point if you feel he's going to be worth anything. They're a 3-8 football team. They're going to be at Miami this year. They get to host the Rams. They got to go to Buffalo. I don't think anybody feels like this is anywhere close to being mathematically savable for them. Even though I drafted him as a backup quarterback this year, I would be in favor of benching him in reality.
Same.
Easy enough. Next up, Kevin Stefanski says he does not concern himself with the talks of hot seat around his name. But my question is, are you in or out on believing him?
I am out on believing him. Now, part of me thinks he's probably like kind of sick of everything, and because he's got to answer these questions. Doesn't anymore about Deshaun, but he had to answer all those questions. Like, is he your quarterback? And he had to say yes because that was forced upon him. But yeah, it has to bother him. So I am out on that.
I'm kind of in on believing him to a point, and that he really doesn't have to think about it because he's the coach of the year last year, right? I just really don't feel like he has to be that worried. He just signed an extension in June. I know that doesn't carry every bit of weight.
Money's an object to the Haslams.
So why are we blaming him and not Jimmy, your guy, his decision to pay
to be
Deshaun
honest,
Watson?
It should be a mixture of that and probably Andrew Berry, too, if we're being honest, with how he built this roster.
Don't you think that Haslam forced Stefanski to keep playing his guy?
Yes, and to Andrew Berry's defense, like, not only do I think Haslam was responsible for all of this, but then that also took away 3 first-round picks that Berry could have used. I think it's all on Haslam, 100%.
Listen, I might be in on Stefanski at least partially thinking about his next landing spot. I think that would only be human nature. So I guess I will side with Bids. The very end of the day, while I don't think he's 100% focused on it, there has to be a little percentage in there, certainly.
Just a key note going into this week, 6 of the last 7 coaches that were fired from the Browns were fired after a game where they lost to the Steelers. So just keep an eye on that. Freddie Kitchens broke that trend when he was fired after losing to the Bengals. But I know a lot of eyes are on that with a mini sort of bye this week after the Thursday night game. Next up, we saw the playoff ranking debut or reveal last night that had Ohio State going through a path of BYU and Boise State before a possible rematch with Oregon. Are you in or out on that path if it became true?
Much better, right? Why? You mean if
Do you
Ohio
think
State's
like it would be their best opportunity, their best path?
I mean, I'm thinking about the bracket right now in my head, and it's probably not accurate to say this is it, but I think if you told me of the 12 teams that are in there, it would be Oregon, Miami, Texas, Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss. I would like to avoid most of those if I could, if I have to come from the 5 seed. I think it's a great path. You're talking about hosting BYU here and then advancing to play Boise and then maybe not facing Oregon again until the semifinals. Feels like the right road to me. I'd be in on it.
I'm out. Here's why. Because if Ohio State was a 5 seed, that would mean that they got to the Big Ten championship game and lost to Oregon. So you'd play an extra game, and then you don't get the bye. So you already have a banged-up offensive line. Now you're going to add another game to that, and you're going to have a 17-game schedule if you're fortunate enough to get to the national championship game. I'm out. I want the bye for Ohio State.
Oh, of course. I want the bye. I thought his question more was, if this was their path, would you be in on it?
I think the group of teams is what I mean by that.
Yeah.
My bad. So Anthony read it right. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, of course. No, in any world.
You twisted my arm there.
No, in any world, you wouldn't want to play an extra game. However, I do think there's a little bit of interesting part about if Oregon does beat him again in the Big Ten title game and you met him again.
For the 3rd time. Can you imagine that?
Beating Ohio State 3 times in one season, this team, even with the injury on the offensive line, you'd almost, I wonder what the spread on that game would be.
I've heard a lot of people talk like the 5th seed is the place to be. That's why I thought you were saying that, because I'm like, I'd still want to be the 1 seed, but I understand the argument, though.
I understand what you're saying, because the 8-9 in this scenario, who the 1 would inherit playing next, would be Bama and Notre Dame. I don't think you'd be afraid of either one of those teams. If I put Boise or BYU in front of you, I think you'd take it. But to your point,
for sure,
it's a great discussion, only because is the trade-off better having the better path but the extra game versus the rest, which you would take all day long, especially with this team.
And quickly, finally, are you in or out on CBS Sports having the Bears as Matt Eberflus above Mike McCarthy in the hot seat rankings for the NFL?
I am out. It's probably splitting hairs. Mike McCarthy's done 100%. I can't believe they brought him back this year. I think they're both going to be gone, but I'm out because I think I'd put McCarthy ahead of Flus, although they're both done.
McCarthy's contract's done. I'll tell you what. That's
Belichick. You buying the Belichick to Dallas rumors? I'm going to say Parcells.
I'll tell you what. The Eberflus and McCarthy, that's a 2-egg omelet. Just crack them both in that frying pan. Like
right.
That's
equally on the hot seat.
But I would put McCarthy higher. I would. So I'd be out on what CB just asked. I am in on the Happy Honda Days at Germain Honda of Dublin. So I talked to Rich, and they told me you can celebrate your new vehicle with 0% APR up to 72 months on select 24 and 25 models. So they're also going to tell you no payments for 90 days, and their leases start as low as $249 a month. So this is really the time to make your best move on a new Honda. From what I like to call the Honda dealership here in Central Ohio, they want to give you a good deal. They want to make you happy. I know somebody in the studio who recently knows all of that to his experience. Bids is raising his hand. Germain Honda of Dublin. You'll get same-day service, no appointment necessary. See the dealer for all these amazing details. And Germain Honda is on Sawmill Road, just south of 270. The voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, next. How real are they, and where did they all come from? You'll find out next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, fans! friends. Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Lindsay Honda clearance.
Factory authorized clearance on most Hondas in stock.
They'll go fast because Lindsay is offering 0% up to 60 months on every 2024 Honda in stock.
That's 0% up to a full 60 months.
It's Black Friday all month long as the clearance begins at Lindsay Honda.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
To Central Ohioans, fall means one thing, football. At Sears Heating and Cooling, fall also means one thing, furnaces. We're not plumbers or electricians. Nope. For 74 years, we've been your Central Ohio heating and cooling experts. Need an electrician or plumber? We'll gladly give you a referral, but we won't pretend to be your one-stop shop for all the trades. We're HVAC experts, and our mission is to provide the highest quality service at the best possible price. That's the local advantage of doing business with your neighbors at Sears Heating and Cooling. Online at SearsHeatingCooling.com.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community, except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station, except Bo. The Fan.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings with new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items like pineapples, avocados, navel oranges, and lettuce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
Open a Platinum Rewards Visa at Kemba Financial Credit Union and secure super low everyday rates so you can pay down debt faster. Apply now at Kemba.org to unlock 2% cash back on purchases for a limited time and pay 0% interest for a full year on balance transfers plus exclusive perks. Restrictions apply. Offer ends October 31st, 2024.
So you're ready to propose?
Yes, I am.
You got her parents' approval. You told her friends. And you got the ring.
Well.
Luckily, there's GageDiamonds.com with engagement rings in every style, for every budget, with certified natural diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and moissanite.
But I'd rather not trade my savings.
Gage lets you buy the ring today and pay over time with no credit-needed financing.
Brilliant.
GageDiamonds.com. We're engagement's middle name.
Exclusions apply. Shop Dell Technologies Black Friday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Black Friday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hitting a hole in one into your ear hole. Ew. This is Rothman and Ice.
All right, welcome back into Rothman and Ice. I want to start by saying anybody who wanted to be in this biz as an IU telecom major or out of the Ernie Pyle School of Journalism, use this man as the benchmark of broadcasting. He is the voice of the Hoosiers, painting the picture on the play-by-play for Indiana football and hoops for more than 50 years. I welcome back an old friend, Don Fischer. Don, how you been?
I'm good, Anthony. How are you?
Outstanding. We go back a long way, so I'll take you there. And I don't know if you've already unveiled this, but when Indiana last won in Columbus was 1987. And
actually 88.
88, I'm sorry, yes, in 88. And so it was about, 35 years they last beat him in 51 or 36 years. And then they beat him again in 88, which means if we start doing the math this Saturday, wait for it, you got another 35, 36-year itch here.
Well, you're right about that. There's no doubt. I will say this. The Bill Mallory era was probably the most fun era of football that I enjoyed up to the season preceding this, because obviously Bill Mallory was a really good football coach back coming to Indiana in 1984 and staying until 1996. And since he left, they had 6 or 7 teams that went to bowls back in those days and played Ohio State tough almost every season they played against them. But since 1996, when they let Bill Mallory go, Indiana has won against the Buckeyes 0. So it hasn't happened, and obviously this is an opportunity for Indiana football this coming weekend at a time when I don't think anybody would have envisioned this at the beginning of this season, that Indiana would be in this position. But there's no question it has been a fun ride for the Hoosier Nation.
Yeah, you've seen a half a century of them. Is it the biggest one for you personally because of that history that's now attached to this Indiana team?
It is for me. This is my 52nd year of doing the play-by-play for IU, and I've never been more excited about a football game at IU simply because the Hoosiers have rarely beaten Ohio State. They've done it twice in my tenure here, but both of those years in 87 and 88, are so long ago that most people in your age bracket and younger obviously have no idea that that's ever happened before. So, we're looking forward to Saturday.
Yeah. I heard you and Sig on your show from Hoosier Hanks. He was highly respectful of Ohio State, as he should, but I noticed he wasn't trying to build him up Lou Holtz style. Is that, in the short time that you've been with him, is this just a genuine belief or a little bit of bravado? How would you dissect it?
It is genuine belief. Anthony, I can tell you this guy, he is so confident in the way he goes about his business as a head coach and about the program that he's running, and he's done this for 14 years now. He's never had a losing season. He believes in the system, the philosophy, and the culture that he builds. And this 10-0 start to this season for Indiana football, I think kind of proves his point. He's done it every place he's been, but he believes in the system that he runs. He learned from Lou Saban in his last 4 years as an assistant coach before he got his first head coaching job. He said, I learned more from that guy about how to build a program and how to run an organization and a program at the football level in college than I've learned from anybody else. And he played for his dad and obviously worked for his dad as a coach, an assistant coach. There's no question this guy believes in what he's doing, and it's not bravado when he talks about it. And he didn't build him up like Lou Holtz used to do, because that's what Lou, you're right. He did that with everybody that they played. But he believes that this is a great football team that they're about to play, but he is not intimidated by them.
We are visiting with the legendary voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, here on Rothman and Ice. So the Michigan game, let's go to that. What did that do for them as far as grinding that one out? It's I think the only time this season they couldn't score at least 31. Michigan shut them down in the second half, but they wound up winning the game, which is obviously the most important thing at the end of the day. What do you think that's done for them, good, bad, ugly, and how that will play into the game against Ohio State?
Well, I think they needed a game like that. They had a 10-point deficit for the first time this year against Michigan State the week before, and they came back and scored 47 unanswered points. So that probably buoyed them a little bit from a confidence standpoint. But winning last week over a Michigan team that has probably more five-star players and talent on their football team than anybody they faced this year, and to beat that Michigan team, even though they've had a bit of a struggling season and their quarterback is their biggest problem at this point. But that said, I think that helped them a lot. And they had to battle for this ball game. They had to fight off a Michigan team that was playing so much better defensively in the second half. And Indiana's defense was pressured and obviously had to do a great job in this game for Indiana to win it. I just believe that because they went through that that's buoyed their confidence even more because they've withstood one of the best teams in the country, at least from a talent standpoint.
What do you anticipate that their feeling will be walking into the shoe on Saturday? They've played at the Rose Bowl this year. Michigan State was a decent crowd, but they had them out of the game late. This is something that they haven't experienced. How do you think they'll handle that?
Well, I just have this confidence level in what Cignetti does and how he goes about his business that I think they're going to handle it fine. I don't think it's going to be any kind of I think it's going to be a great football game. I really do. I don't think this is going to be a blowout by either team. I think it'll come down to the end, and the team that's got the most will and the want will get it done. Obviously, Ohio State is a ball club that's lost one game this year, a very controversial loss to Oregon, obviously, early in the season. And they believe they should be at the top, and it was a controversial loss because I think most people believe that Ohio State probably would have won that game had that not been made. But the thing about this coach and about his football team, these players, they have bought into this guy. They couldn't have gone 10-0 had they not. And there's no question they've got talent. It's not the same kind of talent that Ohio State has. It's not the kind of same talent as Michigan has, but it is really good talent. And these players believe in what this guy preaches, and there's no doubt in my mind they're going to battle on Saturday. It should be a great football game.
Don, you and I have certainly there are a lot of demons built up for Indiana football against Ohio State. We talked about the streak earlier. But the makeup of this team doesn't have that, the psychology of this team. Tell our listeners a little bit about the makeup of this team. How many of his transfers are legitimately starting for this team in their first year in Bloomington?
Well, if you go through the roster, he brought in 29 players out of the transfer portal onto this ball club, and obviously quite a few high school players as well, because about half the team left after last season, either left or graduated or went to the NFL, whatever the case may have been. And at this point, I would say that I think 9 players on offense are brand new to this program this year, and on defense, probably about 7 at this juncture. So we're looking at a ball club that essentially is brand new to Indiana football. And that's another reason I think that they've been able to buy into what Cignetti is selling, because these guys all came from other programs, and they've seen what he's been able to produce at this point with the kind of culture that he's already built. I think these guys believe 1,000% that this guy's going to get them through it.
Well, you called what Earl Bruce called the darkest day in Ohio State football in 1987 when Indiana, the last time they came to Columbus and got it done. So I'll ask it this way. You do feel it's going to be a 4-quarter game, if I heard you correctly. And what is the difference in this game? You've seen Indiana play, their biggest strength and their biggest weakness. What could hold them back on Saturday? And what do you think would be their biggest strength in getting it done?
Well, I think their strength is in their will. I think that's a big part of it. I think from a talent standpoint, there's no question Ohio State's got more talent than Indiana does. But I think that there's a belief in this football team, and if that belief holds, and I think it will, I think they'll give themselves a great shot.
Decades ago, I held the phone in Joe Smith's little office and put my finger on that little button when I taped your little Sunday night wrap-ups, and I was as nervous today as I was back then. So thanks a lot.
That's foolish on your part, man. I'm old. You're a young guy, and you ought to have all the confidence in the world.
Don, I wish you well. Stay well. Have a great call on Saturday, and I hope it's a memorable one for you. So thanks for visiting with us.
I appreciate your having me. Thanks, Anthony. See ya.
You got it. Don Fischer, the legendary voice of the Hoosiers. And by the way, their left tackle, Carter Smith, Olentangy Liberty. Like there's, they have who's their defensive ends coach? Buda Williams. Buda Williams, their defensive ends coach, went to Colerain, won a state title, became a GA at Ashland, went to OU, working on defense there. One of his mentors was Jimmy Burrow, Joe's dad. Like there are some tie-ins here for a couple guys coming back to Columbus, Ohio. All right, we come back with the Buckeye Bulletin and replacing Seth. What's the right plan? We'll discuss next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice. Your wake-up service.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
Men, we hear it all the time. A man comes in to get his erectile dysfunction treated, and very soon thereafter, he tells us that his relationship is renewed. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and you should know that ED doesn't just affect you, it also often affects your partner. They can feel undesired, unwanted. They may even feel like you don't love them anymore. At Tri-State Men's Health, we've successfully treated thousands of men for ED with protocols that have success rates as high as 90%. Which means if you're like most men, we can get you back to the guy you used to be. You could even last up to an hour or more and find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and give your partner the gift of renewed love. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654. That's 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Ready for a new ride? Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Come try Skyline Chili's new mac and cheese three-way, made with creamy cavatappi pasta in a 3-cheese blend, topped with Skyline chili and their shredded Wisconsin cheddar. The new mac and cheese three-way at participating Skyline locations for a limited time.
Billiards Plus has the area's best selection of pool tables, shuffleboard tables, poker tables, and more. Santa will be here soon, and there's still inventory in stock, so get yours before Billiards Plus runs out. Don't forget your grill, too. Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
It's time for some Thursday night brownies. Yes! Catch the Brownies as they battle the Steelers from the land.
Live coverage starts Thursday night at 6 on ESPN Columbus and the Fans HD2.
Your home of the Browns, the Fan.
APCO, windows, siding, and decks. Business First says we're the largest remodeler in town. Our philosophy is simple. We don't rely on sales gimmicks to get our customers. We rely on our reputation.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Ryan Krieger, and at Krieger Ford, we know life's busy. Let us handle your car care. Enjoy our convenient pickup and delivery service, or have our technicians come to you with our mobile service van. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today, only at KriegerFord.com.
FX's Grotesquerie.
This killer is someone who knows anatomy.
From executive producer Ryan Murphy.
Detective, you have an entire family murdered.
Niecy Nash Betts.
The monster is out here.
Courtney B. Vance.
God knows what darkness we let in.
And Travis Kelsey.
There's no future after this.
FX's Grotesquerie. All new Wednesdays on FX. Stream on Hulu.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like Bear Dynasty interior paint, their most durable one-coat hide paint ever. From a team color statement wall to a fan cave, complete with a mural honoring Nick Saban's 17-year dynasty.
Hey, I like that idea.
Nothing beats Bear Dynasty interior paint. It's everything you need all in one can.
Defend your game time with Bear and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Valid only when intended to colors from the Bear Dynasty and Marquee Interior one-coat hide color collection.
Saturday is game day on the Fan.
Sponsored by Reichert Chevy.
Every game, every season, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Don't go through another furnace breakdown. For fast, friendly service, call the experts at Logan Services now for a free estimate and next day furnace installation.
All right, Buckeye Bulletin time. So around 8:30 last night, maybe a little before, the rumble started coming out of the Ohio State camp and media and social media that Seth McLaughlin, the very experienced center for Ohio State, had an Achilles injury in practice. This is his first season with Ohio State. He transferred in from Bama, enrolled in classes in January, went through spring drills, smart kid, and had really turned himself into a midseason All-American watch list kind of a guy. And so we all know the impact on this is big. Ohio State has not confirmed it yet, but it's been everywhere. And one of the great upsets of all time would be if somehow this story did not turn out to be as accurate as it's being reported. But I think you and I trust a lot of the people that have, and they would not want to miss on this one or whiff on this one. So that being said, they got to replace this dude. And it's one of those things that I cannot tell you right now whether they can do it seamlessly. I think there's going to be a little bit of a trial and error, because the logical thing for me, if you want to lean towards experience, would be, all right, Hinsman, the redemption tour continues. You're back at center. You've got experience playing elsewhere. Hey, man, we need you. Or, like you said, they could go to Josh Padilla, who's a younger player who had snaps at Northwestern, didn't play last year, maybe a little more natural at center, but the offensive line is going to have to try to patch this on the fly, and I'm not telling you that what they decide against Indiana will be what they decide the rest of the way.
It's going to be very interesting to see how much Ryan Day talks about this tonight and exactly what he says after practice during the lightning round right after practice. It'll probably be around 6:30. Initially, Anthony, I thought that they would just move Hinsman to center and then bring Seyerveld in at left guard. But there is a lot of smoke that, and I'd heard this in previous weeks that they did like Padilla a lot as the center of the future. Well, maybe the future is now. And there's a lot of smoke out there. They're at least strongly considering putting Padilla as the starting center and just leaving Hinsman at left guard. So those are really your two main options. I guess there's a chance Luke Montgomery could fit in somewhere, but I doubt that. I have a gut feeling it's going to be Padilla at center and Hinsman staying at left guard. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
Is Michalski able to come back?
I don't know about this week, but this year, yes. Yeah, they were hoping he'd be able to be back as early as Indiana. So maybe he'll be available this week, but it's not season ending with him.
Yeah. Listen, it's massive. No one's going to sugarcoat this. I don't think Ryan Day is certainly not going to get up in front of microphones and say, well, it's been a fun year. Like, of course, it's his job. And you and I are both, no one's really throwing in the towel. I can't tell you right now whether this won't be what eventually gets them. It may. Against the wrong team on the wrong day. And they
can lost your left tackle.
They can exploit your offensive line. This may be what bites them, but I would not tell you right now, without them even trying to patch this up, that it's over. It's not curtains for them. And I brought this up earlier. And this may be, take this for what it's worth. It's a big injury. Everybody knows it. And like I said, it might be the one that finally, gets them in the end. But it hasn't affected the betting at all. They're still the favorite to win it all. And they're even a better favorite Saturday, even after the news. So more money came in on Ohio State over the last 24 hours that has put this spread up to 13.5 over the fifth-ranked team of Indiana.
And not only are they still the betting favorite to win the national championship, it hasn't moved. It's not like they're the betting favorite, but it's gone from plus 320 to plus 380 or something. No, it's holding steady. Now, should that be the case when you lose Seth McLaughlin? Maybe not. We're all saying he's the best center in the country. He's probably going to win the Remington Award, so it's definitely a big loss. But you know what, though? This defense is elite. They still have Will Howard. They've got these wide receivers. Yeah, it stinks. You've lost 40% of your starting offensive line. With all due respect to Donovan Jackson, who's having a good year, in my opinion, you lost your two best offensive linemen at key positions. Not just they're the best, in my opinion, regardless of position, but you lose your center, the quarterback of the O-line. You lose your left tackle, protecting the blind side. That hurts. But you still got two elite running backs. Will Howard's having a fantastic season. You got three elite wide receivers, and you have an elite defense. And as you mentioned earlier in the show, it's time for this defense. They've been really good. If this defense can prove they're the best defense in the country, Ohio State's going to be right where they want to be at the end of the year, even with a banged-up offensive line. Now, they got to play better. Northwestern started the game going down the field twice. If not for that fumble, Northwestern might start the game off with two long touchdown drives. So they've got to clean up some stuff, but I believe in this defense. I think ever since the Oregon game, Jim Knowles is now allowed to do what he wants, and we're seeing that with the Jack. It looks like an Oklahoma State defense, Anthony, with Ohio State players. It's not like LJ's doing what he wants with the D-line, and now Knowles is doing what he wants from the back seven. Knowles is doing what he wants. So I believe in this defense.
Here's the other thing. If Ohio State wins the Big Ten, they will get essentially 25 days off before the when would they play the quarter? They get the bye, CB. When would they play?
I believe it's New Year's Eve.
Right. So essentially, you would be getting a pretty good amount of time to start trying to gain. And believe me, those days, if you win the Big Ten, that means your offensive line somehow, patched itself up and got confidence and won the Big Ten, and then you could work with them even more.
It would be New Year's Day if they win because they'll go to the Rose Bowl.
That would be a long break. So the Big Ten championship game's on December 7th.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah.
If you get that bye, then it's rust versus rest. But yeah, you go from December 7th to, you said, New Year's Day.
Oh, that'd be great.
3.5 weeks off. The other part about this, and we haven't talked about it, is there's a lot of pressure on Ohio State to win it all. These kinds of injuries sometimes take a little layer off. Now they're kind of okay, maybe some people will forget about us or count us out. It does take a little bit of that. Well, now maybe they're not supposed to win it all. Before these injuries with Simmons and McLaughlin, they were the it team. It was bought and paid for, and you better win it. Now it feels like they get a little more of that human element of, okay, we've got to overcome. And that sometimes takes a little bit of the pressure off. Now, the pressure on this team against Kurtis Rourke, and we'll play this when we come back, CB, about defending this quarterback and this offense. And then deep dive coming up at 2 o'clock after a SportsCenter update. A former Buckeye, I would say, wins the viral sports take of the last 24 hours or less. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at buyersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, what's all this I hear about seasons free things?
Yeah, we're giving away even more than usual this season.
Free alignment with any Ford tire purchase isn't seasonal, Mike. It's free every day at Tire Discounters.
Sure, but right now, guess what else happens every day?
I know that customers can save up to $250 on Michelin tires.
Absolutely. Now, guess what else?
Mike, I'm a phantom tire buyer with a secret identity. Please don't toy with me.
Okay, here's the deal.
Yes?
We're doing these drawings.
Like a game show.
And one lucky customer per day wins all their money back for 4 tires.
Spectacular! But why call it seasons free things?
You know, season's greetings. It's like a play on words.
Yes, of course it is. I knew that.
It's seasons free things at Tire Discounters. One lucky customer per day wins their money back on tires. Everyone saves big on major brands like Continental. And a free alignment and oil change comes with every Ford tire purchase.
Hi, Timmy Hall here with Ohio State student-athlete, defensive tackle Hero Canoe.
What's up, everyone? Let's talk about something special this holiday season. Nationwide Children's Hospitals Light Up the Lawn campaign.
Join me and Hero and become a hero yourself when you donate to support Nationwide Children's Hospital. The moment you donate, the butterflies on the lawn light up for patients and families to see.
And not only that, with every gift, you are supporting life-saving care and research. Join us in making a difference.
So please, give now at nationwidechildrens.org/give.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town, with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now, when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats too. Your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching.
Does this have peanuts?
To waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Baker. A huge blow for number 2 Ohio State as they prepare for number 5 Indiana this Saturday at the Shoe. Center Seth McLaughlin will miss the rest of the season with an Achilles injury suffered at practice. We'll hopefully find out what they plan on doing this weekend when Ryan Day speaks with the media after practice. The Columbus Blue Jackets making a couple of roster moves today. They send defenseman David Juracek and forward Mikhail Putia to Cleveland. They also announced that first-round pick Caden Lindstrom had a surgical procedure on his back and can resume activities in 30 days. The 12th-ranked Ohio State women's basketball team down in Athens tonight, taking on the OU Bobcats at 7. You can hear it over on ESPN Columbus, beginning with the pregame at 6:45. And after losing to the Celtics last night, the Cavs are back at home taking on the New Orleans Pelicans at 7:30. This one's sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus, your connection for the best selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified used vehicles.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and I feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Maxima Concrete. Visit MaximaConcrete.com today to schedule your free estimate.
All right, final hour of the program. Bobby Carpenter, 2:33. We'll get his opinion on the injury to Seth and the mindset of this team in reality, and then how they can fix this and what he thinks of it. He's gone through many injuries himself. He's been on teams that have had guys that have had to step up. This position is so specific to this team's success, it feels like, other than a quarterback. And who knows, maybe if you polled 100 Buckeye fans today, diehard Buckeye fans, and said, you know, if you had to pick between losing the starting center and losing the starting quarterback on this team, what would you do? I still think they'd say the center.
For sure.
But I don't know.
For sure. Right?
So if you could keep Seth, and if Will had the same injury,
definitely
you'd feel so differently about the ability to win it all.
Absolutely. Because the quarterback's the most important position on the field. And
the experience.
Now, I'm saying this knowing that a redshirt freshman could be making his first start, Josh Padilla, at center on Saturday. Maybe it'll be Carson Hinsman. But I'm not real confident in the backup quarterback. It'd be a big drop-off from Will Howard to Devin Brown. And Will Howard is putting up a great season. He is 3rd in the country in passing efficiency, which is my favorite stat to look at. And I don't know. And they haven't really broken out the QB run because they haven't needed it. They're going to, every game going forward now, they're going to break out the Q run.
I didn't even look at his stats from Saturday when I came in to do the show on Monday. And I started the show on Monday saying, that's the best I've seen Will Howard throw football this season. I thought he was in command. I thought he hung in there and threw the ball under pressure, crossing routes, down the seam, anything he wanted, he got on. Even though his stats wouldn't tell you that it was his best game. But I felt it was one of his most highlighted games for me on where he put the ball in his execution. We'll see if that'll continue. We got some big ones left. All right, so last night I'm watching the college football playoff ranking show, and it's Reese and it's Berger McFarland and the great Joey Galloway, legendary Buckeye, and then Greg McElroy. And they have a good time with it. It was an hour show last night. It wasn't anything where they had to like get to the rankings and do a halftime show and then get out. Like they had a chance to really discuss things. And as we know, over the last couple of weeks, Indiana has been the story of the year, outside of Georgia's near implosion and being like the preseason number 1 to almost being out of the playoff and their must win. So I would say the stories of the year so far have been a little bit of this. Well, I'll tell you what, Tennessee was the team to beat early, and now they've fallen off. But if you came into the year, it maybe be like an SMU or the Georgia not being near the top.
Colorado, maybe.
Colorado's a big story. Miami early on when they were just winning all their games. But the story for everyone was Indiana. This has never been done. They've never won 10 games. You know their history. And as you said earlier, according to Ohio State, their own website, they've never lost to Indiana.
For those who don't know what Anthony's talking about, Ohio State's website, if you go on there, the official website, look at the history between Ohio State and Indiana. They do say from 1989 on, but they act like they didn't play before 1989. Yes. And Indiana won in 87 and 88. Darkest Day 1 and Darkest Day 2.
By the way, so we had, Don Fischer was on, the legendary voice of the Hoosiers, and I was asking him, and I think he even had me confused about the math, so I'll reiterate it. Indiana beat Ohio State in 1987 here in Columbus for the first time that they had beaten them since 1951. So they went 36 years between their 51 victory and their 87 victory. They then turned the trick back-to-back, beating Ohio State and Bloomington in 88. So if you add 36 years to 88, what do you get? You get 2024 this year.
You're predicting a Hoosier win.
No, I'm just saying it was kind of eerie.
That is interesting.
And when I unveiled that nugget on Fish today, he confused me because I think he had it confused that Indiana's last victory here was in 88. He had it reversed.
He did.
It was 87 here, 88 there. So we come back to the comment from Joey last night. This is the most hyped game right now. Anybody who's anybody is going to be here this weekend. Game day, big noon kickoff, Big Ten Network. It is going to be, and we still have to fight the old, it's at noon, all right? And so everyone's going to have to get down there early and get fired up and try to make ×2 on their tailgate, prepping. And so everyone's building this game up. And Joey Galloway last night basically did the ice bucket challenge on the most hottest matchup that we have. I'll let him tell it. But when I heard it, I honestly would have expected this if some rando media person, not a former legendary player, threw this out there as a attention getter. Like, hey, I got something that nobody would say. Indiana, they might get in the playoff. You don't want to get your guy injured. Maybe just kind of protect him. And because my feeling is, if you compared Ohio State trying to beat Ohio State versus them being a first-round loser in the first year of the expanded playoff, beating Ohio State is 1,000 times more important than going to the playoff and losing in round one.
Yeah, just getting to the playoff. Yeah. If you beat Ohio State, if you're Indiana, just getting to the playoff is the national championship, isn't it?
It's big. What I'm saying is it's not bigger than beating Ohio State here as a top 2 team.
Right.
It's just not.
When you haven't done it in 36 years.
And so I think what happened is we all just kind of fell off the couch. And I watched Reese and Booger and Greg say, all right, tell us you're kidding. And it never happened.
And then he doubled down.
They can't go any higher. They are behind a one-loss team. They have a chance to go on the road and prove what they are. Now, honestly, if we believe in what our metrics are saying, if I'm Indiana, I don't know if I'm playing Rourke against Ohio State. We've seen what happened to Florida State last year, Jordan Travis. What could keep Indiana out of this? Getting their quarterback hurt. We've seen it happen to Florida State last year, having not played anybody.
Or losing by 30.
If you look at 3, 4, and 5, Texas, Penn State, and Indiana, they literally have played nobody between all 3 teams. The toughest team in that is Vandy. So a lot of this that we're looking at is eye test because Boog, when you look at the resumes of 3, 4, and 5, it brings back the idea of let me not play anybody and be undefeated.
Yeah.
And be in a good position.
I agree with that.
The eye test is going to matter because 3, 4, 5 have played nobody, and that includes Indiana.
I'm rarely at a loss for words. I would not expect that from a former great player. The mindset, I know what he was trying to say, which is he's the key to it all. But what are you going to do? Sit him for Purdue as well? And then you're talking about a former MVP of the MAC in Kurtis Rourke, a 6th-year grad transfer.
He'll be all Big Ten for sure.
Who has seen everything there is to see. He's got 20-plus touchdown passes, I think 4 picks. He's had an unbelievable year. And I know he would never want to do this. But I think Joey's point was that the team should want to do this. Not that Kurtis would want to, but the team should protect him from himself. He's had a thumb injury earlier in this year. But I don't understand the theory of not playing because you're afraid he might get hurt. And if he gets hurt, they will just discount you as a throwaway team the way they did Florida State, which they did because they weren't the same team.
But Indiana has a good backup quarterback, and there's now triple the amount of teams making the playoff. It just, and I say this as somebody who I loved Joey Galloway when he played for Ohio State. Loved him. That might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Sitting your sixth-year quarterback, who's been the key to everything.
In the biggest game.
In the biggest game in the history of the program, technically.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, they did go to the Rose Bowl in 68. And
at least since then, right?
Yeah, since then.
Yes, at least, yeah.
And sacrificing your ability to try to win a game that they legitimately think they can win.
And I do want to point this out.
To protect him from injury?
Because Joey mentioned, if you follow the analytics and what they're saying, like basically saying like Indiana had like a minuscule chance of winning. If you look at the football power index, I don't know how much validity you put in that. Indiana's got a 27% chance of winning this game. They give Ohio State 73, Indiana 27. This is not that's not insane at all. I mean, 27%, you got a decent chance to win the game. No, I think Ohio State's got more than a 73% chance of winning, but that's just me. Who am I to argue with the math, right, and the analytics? But Joey's acting like Indiana has like a 1% chance of winning or something. If you believe FPI, they have a 27% chance of winning this game, and you want them to bench their quarterback when they're undefeated, playing the biggest game they've ever played, at least since that Rose Bowl in 68, and they have a legit chance to beat Ohio State, who's now without their starting center. Indiana's been blowing everybody out. I know their schedule's been
not Michigan.
I was going to say, except for Michigan.
And they didn't really blow out Northwestern until the end.
And it looked like they were going to blow out Michigan. They're up 17-3. And Cignetti did something that, and the announcers talked about. They had a chance to score at the end of the first half, and they decided to take a knee and play it safe. And that's usually not how he operates. So, but you're right. That was the one time that Indiana, Michigan dominated the second half. But other than that, Indiana's been blowing everybody out.
It's the biggest game for them that has ever happened, really, because in this era, everything is bigger than it was back then. The way it's promoted and the way it's sold and the way just the way college football is now. You're right. I mean, I'll try to get a hold of him and see if he maybe wants to clarify it. It didn't make sense. It was something that you would see on social media by a random media guy that just wanted clicks or attention. It wouldn't be the mindset of a former player, a former great player, to tell a team that the only way you win this week is by not getting your quarterback hurt. And like that's honestly, I just don't think it would ever enter his mind. And I also think like if someone else said that to him, I think his reaction would have been the way ours is. I found it very surprising. They said to him, I mean, even Reese said, okay, you're not serious now. And he's like, do I look serious? Like, I am. Like,
and then they kept asking. It was like a comedy show. Yeah. They kept asking him.
He's trying to protect. What Joey, I think, is trying to do is protect what Indiana has earned to this point. Because he feels like that the only thing that really keeps them out of the playoff is him getting injured. So I think off the cuff, he said, hey, bubble wrap this kid. Don't take a chance. You're probably going to lose to Ohio State anyway. Don't get him hurt in the process. And clearly, I guess maybe he thinks that he's got a much better chance of getting injured in this game than he would against Purdue, because if they start blowing Purdue out, they'd probably pull him out of the game anyway. So he's right inherently that maybe he has a better risk of being injured. But every player has a risk of injury. What he's trying to say is in a game this intense, that he's probably more likely to take harder hits against a tougher team in Ohio State.
It just doesn't make sense.
You would just never adopt that forfeit attitude, because robbing Peter to pay Paul on the playoff, and I said it from the very beginning, if you told me that Indiana, if there are only two choices here, make the playoff and lose in the first round, or beat Ohio State and not make a playoff, I would take beating Ohio State all day long if I'm Indiana. Like I called them the Haley's Comet Hoosiers earlier this year. they're never getting this again unless somehow Cignetti has another school where you can have 20 some odd guys transferring from. It just.
And then real quick, another reason this makes no sense. Let's say they did this. They're not going to. They bench, or let's say Rourke would have got hurt against Ohio State. All right. And then Jackson comes in and they beat Purdue. Jackson's already proven he's a good backup quarterback, right? Do we think the committee would leave Indiana out if they're 11-1? Jackson's now their quarterback who's proven it. Plays well against Purdue, let's say. I still think that Indiana would get in.
Jackson wound up playing pretty good against Washington in the game, so they would at least have a little evidence that the backup didn't sink them and that they won handily. So
they would still get in at 11-1 with the backup court. It wouldn't be like Florida State last year.
I think it's one of those things that maybe you just mention as because you're talking about Indiana so much, and it just kind of seeps into your brain of just how unlikely this season is, and the only thing that could derail it if the most important player got injured, and maybe you should think about protecting him from. But it cannot be the headline. It just can't be. I think these coaches leave in their starters way too long anyway, especially in college where there's not like contract incentives and things like that. Like they should protect these players more. But you can't say that a top 5 matchup, that the only thing you're afraid of is injury. Whoever went into a game thinking that? You just can't. And I am surprised, like you said, that he said it. We'll come back with pre-snap reads and Primetime and Primetime Junior. Could they be a combo platter? One guy says, not a great idea. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Come try Skyline Chili's new mac and cheese 3-way. Made with creamy cavatappi pasta in a 3-cheese blend. Topped with Skyline chili and their shredded Wisconsin cheddar. The new mac and cheese 3-way. At participating Skyline locations for a limited time.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, what's all this I hear about season's free things?
Yeah, we're giving away even more than usual this season.
Free alignment with any Ford tire purchase isn't seasonal, Mike. It's free every day at Tire Discounters.
Sure, but right now, guess what else happens every day?
I know that customers can save up to $250 on Michelin tires.
Absolutely. Now, guess what else?
Mike, I'm a phantom tire buyer with a secret identity. Please don't toy with me.
Okay, here's the deal.
Yes?
We're doing these drawings.
Like a game show.
And one lucky customer per day wins all their money back for 4 tires.
Spectacular! But why call it Season's Free Things?
You know, Season's Greetings. It's like a play on words.
Yes, of course it is. I knew that. It's Season's Free Things at Tire Discounters. One lucky customer per day wins their money back on tires. Everyone saves big on major brands like Continental. And a free alignment and oil change comes with every 4-tire purchase.
Fan Traffic is sponsored by Great Lakes Kia. Take the winning drive to Great Lakes Kia. Great cars, great people. Great Lakes Kia. Visit greatlateskia.com.
The Buckeyes are back at the shot for a very important and riveting matchup with Campbell. They're the Fighting Soup Slurpers.
Live coverage starts Friday at 5 with the Tip at 6.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who've walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
I don't know what I want to do. I'm just not sure that college is right for me. Have you considered a career in dental assisting? I love my job as a dental assistant. I have flexible work hours, the money is good, and I get to work in a professional, people-oriented dental office. What I really love about my job is knowing that I give people a healthy smile.
For more information about becoming a dental assistant, contact your high school guidance counselor. Or if you are no longer in school, talk to a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Showers are moving in. Expect rain to arrive after lunchtime today. Temperatures will get colder as the afternoon progresses. Tomorrow morning, we'll see some snow showers out there. Still expecting about 1/2 inch of accumulation on grassy surfaces. Temperatures tomorrow very cold. Wind chill values below freezing. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365 is the exclusive online sportsbook of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Rothman and Ice present Pre-Snap Reads.
Sponsored by the Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Spent the last commercial break thinking just about that theory. What if they would have looked at him, CB, and said, what if they all in the studio would have said, all right, that's a very interesting theory you have there, Joey. Expand upon it. Because I think the only thing that would have made sense to me, the only thing would have been, hey, if Ohio State's beating Indiana by 24 points at half, and you think, and he's having an off day, sit him, protect him. Move on to the next game at Purdue, try to make the playoff. There's no reason he should stay in a game where they're getting killed. Okay, anybody could wrap their mind around that, but not from the get-go. It just, I'm scratching my head. I have to believe that it was just one of those crazy thoughts that is trying to bolster the side of Indiana, making sure that they protect the big picture, which is their chance to be in the playoff and advance in the playoff. But, boy, that really undercuts everything that this game is about, the sport's about, the expanded playoff. Losing this game and getting injured is obviously the double whammy. And if that were to happen, how many people truly play hindsight? The only way we play hindsight in injuries is when it's unnecessary to be playing them. And a coach kind of gets in his own way, but not at the beginning of this. All right, we'll get to Andrew Hawkins in a second. Let's first, little Bet365 time bids, because at Bet365, we don't do ordinary. All right, you sign up, you can see for yourself. Get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Boy, do I feel fortunate last night when I took the Cavs plus the 5.5. They were getting drilled. And they came back and won the game. And Rhino won his parlay as well on the show, so the pressure's on. By the way, I changed my mind on the whole NBA courts. I cannot watch a full game like that. For 5 minutes, it's okay. It looks like they're playing on a swimming pool. Honestly, it was so horribly distracting. The rods and cones were all screwed up. Do you have a best bet for tonight?
I'll go with the Ohio Bobcats on the road. It's going to be a good one. Ohio at Toledo. Bobcats... slight dog. I'm just going to go money line. It's even money on the money line on Bet365. So give me the Ohio Bobcats even money on the money line to beat Toledo tonight.
All right. You'll get the honor today. We'll ride that bet at Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And download that Bet365 app today. You got to be 21 or older. Must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
All right, so Deion Sanders is a hot topic. But on Get Up this morning, a former Bengals player and Andrew Hawkins started talking about that Sanders would make a good coach in the NFL, and his name has surfaced amongst all the rumors, and we talked to Schefter about it. He's only in, his second year as coach of the Buffs now. He's got a chance to lead them to a Big 12 title, potentially a spot in the college football playoff, and now he's being linked to the Cowboys, and here's Hawkins' take on that.
As somebody who would have to be in the locker room, it would create a little bit of, I don't know, if the quarterback and the head coach are father and son. Because there's in NFL locker rooms, there's always this kind of sanctity of the locker room, right? It's the players, then there's the coaches, and then you also have the front office. And there's like this expectation that you're able to speak freely and that your relationships, one in and of themselves, are independent. If the coach doesn't like me, and then I feel like, well, does that mean the quarterback that has a thing with me? Or if I get into it with the quarterback on something, does that mean that the coach is going to make decisions in a certain way? I think Deion Sanders is the best available head coach. I think Shedeur Sanders is the best available quarterback. I think it's going to have a lot more questions than answers with the opportunity to put them in the same organization. Yeah. It reeks a little bit of like Little League football. And I know it's worked in college, but I just feel like in the pros with so much money involved,
I think so.
It's going to be tough.
First of all, Deion is not the best coach and I am a big fan. I like Deion, and I am a big fan of what he's doing at Colorado. I think it's awesome what he's doing. He's proven all of his naysayers wrong. I think their over-under for win total was like 5.5. They're already 8-2. Here's the thing, though. If I am running an NFL team, there's two guys out there that I would target: Bill Belichick, the GOAT, and Mike Vrabel, before I'd get to Deion. Deion's never coached in the NFL. He's coached at Jackson State for 2 years and Colorado for 2 years. He's doing a fantastic job at Colorado. He also has a first-round quarterback, happens to be his son. He's got the future Heisman Trophy winner.
I agree with Andrew about the father-son thing. It's fine when you're winning. It's fine at Colorado. He's the best player on the team outside of Travis Hunter. Like, everybody knows that. You get into the pros, things start going wrong. They start going sideways. The coach-kid combo platter, while it's got some appeal to us to talk about it, it feels like it's got a lot of potential problems, like you said, in that locker room. Because guys like to talk about the coach and how they're doing and all of that stuff. And I feel like having the quarterback with his father's this is not high school anymore. It's not even college. So I feel like I'm with him on that. The other problem with it is how does Jerry just move on from a guy that he gave all that money to? Like, I'm not saying Dak, and Dak's got to come back from his injury and prove that he can play. Like the pros, you're going to want to be part of watching him and guiding him, he said, making sure he goes to the right team. So if he's in the pros and you're actively checking with our guy, Bobby Carpenter, and we'll get his plan and his expectations on Ohio State after the big injury last night. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Cars for Kids accepts all kinds of real estate donations. Turn your challenging or unused property into a brighter future for kids and get a tax deduction for the full appraised value of your property. Visit carsforkids.org or call today. That's Cars for Kids Real Estate. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your real estate.
Hurry! It's our last chance to donate for 2024.
Meijer knows that Thanksgiving is a time to come together, eat together, and share together. During the week of Thanksgiving, November 24th through the 30th, when you buy Meijer brand foods, our Simply Give program will feed up to 4 million neighbors in need. So when you bring that perfectly fluffed stuffing to the table, the cranberry sauce and green bean casserole, you're actually bringing more good to more neighbors. Let's bring more good to Thanksgiving with Meijer brand and Simply Give. Exclusions apply. See Meijer.com for details.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at buyersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
When you have the lowest prices every day feels like Black Friday. That's why Bob's is unboxing incredible values every Friday in November. Oh, no, not a boxing match. We're unboxing unbeatable values for your home. We're talking beautiful bedroom sets, feature-packed power sofas, dining sets, pop-up sleepers, decor, and more, all at wow-worthy prices.